السلام عليكم. Good morning. نرحب بكم في فعاليات اليوم الثالث والأخير من المؤتمر الافتراضي التقنيات المتقدمة لإدارة المدن الذكية والمستدامة Advanced Technologies for Managing Modern Smart Sustainable Cities، الذي ينظمه مركز البيئة للمدن العربية، بلدية دبي، ومنظمة المدن العربية، ومجلس صناعات الطاقة النظيفة، وشركة سولار. يركز المؤتمر على تسليط الضوء على المشاريع الناجحة التي استطاعت توظيف تكنولوجيا البيئة لتحقيق الاستدامة وجودة الحياة في المدن الحديثة. الكلمة الافتتاحية الآن يقدمها الأستاذ حسين عبد الله الفردان باسم مركز البيئة للمدن العربية.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
عليكم السلام.
صوت واضح أستاذ زاهر؟
واضح أستاذ، تفضل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحضور الكريم، أصحاب السعادة، أصحاب الأوراق العلمية، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أحب في البداية أن أنقل لكم تحيات مدير مركز البيئة للمدن العربية، وأتقدم بالشكر إلى شركائنا الاستراتيجيين في تنظيم هذا المؤتمر، شركة سولار أرابتيك ومجلس صناعات الطاقة النظيفة، على هذا الجهد المبذول في تنظيم هذا المؤتمر، واللي استمر أكثر من 8 شهور من العمل الجاد والمرهق والملتزم. في البداية أحب أرحب بجميع المتحدثين اليوم، وأتمنى لهم تقديم كل ما ينفع المدينة العربية في إضافة شيء جديد بالنسبة لها. كانت فكرة المؤتمر تتحدث عن نقل التكنولوجيا وتعريف المجتمع العربي، وخاصة المدن العربية وعمداء المدن ورسم السياسات ومخطط المدن بالتقنيات والتجارب الحديثة التي طبقت على المستوى العالمي، والتي أدت إلى نتائج جيدة في تطوير الخدمات وإضافة السعادة وتسهيل الطريق للمتعاملين وتحسين البيئة والإدارة الكفؤة من حيث الاستدامة ومن حيث جودة الحياة. فكرة المؤتمر استمرت لمدة 3 أيام أيضا. اليوم إن شاء الله راح نستعرض 12 ورقة عمل، كلها في مجال تقنيات الاستدامة وإدارة المدن، وراح إن شاء الله نتحدث حول الذكاء الاصطناعي في خدمة المدينة العربية أو المدينة على مستوى عالمي، وحرصنا على أيضا أن ننقل هذه التجارب إلى المدن العربية نظرا لما تتمتع به التكنولوجيا الحديثة من قدرة على تحقيق أقصى درجات السرعة والإدارة المثلى للموارد في جميع المجالات، في مجالات الطاقة وفي مجالات المياه والكهرباء والتربة والتنوع البيولوجي والتغير المناخي وهكذا. بالنهاية نتمنى لكل المتحدثين ألا يبخلوا بأي معلومة على المستمعين والمشاركين، وأن نستفيد إن شاء الله من هذه الأوراق العلمية لما فيه الخير وسعادة مجتمعاتنا العربية. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
شكرا أستاذ حسين. اليوم الثالث من المؤتمر سيكون على محورين. المحور الثاني هو بعنوان حلول الماء والغذاء Food and Water Solutions. المحور الأول الآن سيكون بعنوان الذكاء الاصطناعي وأبحاث المستقبل Artificial Intelligence and Future Research. المدة المتاحة هي 15 دقيقة لكل متحدث، وهناك إمكانية نرجو من الحضور الكرام إرسال أسئلتهم عبر نافذة Q&A وليس عبر نافذة الشات لتكون واضحة للمشاركين ويتم الإجابة عنها. كما سيتاح وقت في نهاية كل محور للإجابة عن الأسئلة. الآن المحاضرة الأولى والجلسة الأولى هي بعنوان مرافق المستقبل والاستدامة الذكية Facilities of Future and Smart Sustainability. الأستاذ راجان سايني من شركة جونسون كنترول. Mr. Rajan.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone.
Alaikum salam. Hello.
Yes, I'm sharing my screen. Let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to present this session. So I'm going to talk about facilities of the future in smart sustainability. I'm working with Johnson Control, which is one of the largest smart building technology company globally. And I'm working as Associate Director for Digital Solutions with Johnson Control. Before I get into the topic in detail, so I want to give a little bit of glimpse of what I'm going to cover in this session. So when we talk about facilities of the future, we can see not only in Middle East, but globally, we see a trend of going towards the cognitive cities and cities with the smart sustainability and different various trends. So I'm going to talk about some of the trends in the facilities of the future and what's the role of smart sustainability into the same. But just before that, a little bit about Johnson Controls. So Johnson Control is a bellwether of intelligence in smart buildings. We were the first people. Mr. Johnson invented first electrical thermostat in 1883, which is 135 years back, And today we are the largest building technology company. We with our technologies on the building space, we have been able to deliver more than 35 million metric tons of CO2 reduction. We are more than 100,000 experts globally. And since we are talking about facilities of the future, Johnson Control has been, into more than 90% of iconic facilities and buildings globally. I'll talk more in details, but when we talk about smart buildings, right? So we look at the global CO2 emission trends, right? And buildings represent 37% of the global CO2 emissions, right? It means this is a very strategic and important domain to cover if we want our cities to be sustainable and smart, right? So this particular image showcase the different breakup of the 37% in various type of facilities and buildings. So buildings being one of the smart and strategic pillar of cities. And one more angle here, like we live in buildings, and 90% of life is in buildings. So buildings being one of the very strategic and important play here, right? When we talk about cognitive cities, and we are hearing a lot buzz about cognitive cities and autonomous cities, but if our buildings itself are not smart and intelligent enough, we cannot think about the cognitive cities. In our perspective about cognitive cities, we believe smart buildings is the primary building block of a cognitive city. So first, when we talk about the smart building, we talk about individual systems being smart. And and then we start to go to the enterprise level of smartness. We talk about a unified layer of data platform where all the subsystems being at one single layer, and then we have the adaptive and personalization of all of these outcomes and use cases in the form of cognitive city. So smart buildings and having the autonomous and cognitive buildings is the first step to have a cognitive city. Right. This is, just to talk about that, what kind of global trends do we see globally in the facilities of the future, smart sustainability being the core piece of it. But there are some other technology trends as well, whether we talk about digital twin, we talk about smart occupant experience. There is a lot buzz about generative AI and what kind of use cases can be delivered with generative AI for smart facilities. We have integrated command control center. There is a lot of focus, even AI at the edge, IoT being a core to all of this, certain technologies. And when we and we hear a lot about these technology trends, and a lot of cities adapting to these trends. But when we see the pain points as well, which are on the right hand side, and we have seen many of our experience, and while we deal with our partners and in the market, we see adoption being one of the key pain point, right? I mean, we can have different type of technologies and to play, but if there is no proper adoption of it and there is no proper change management, that does not bring the right value, and we don't really get the value and the ROI out of it. And then there are some other different pain points, whether we talk about data silos, we talk about value or ROI out of those technologies, or we talk about the priority or the decision making in the priority. So I mean, we in Johnson Control try to cover some of these key pain points through our technologies and through our solutions. So as I said in the beginning, that if we don't have smart and cognitive buildings, we will not have smart cognitive cities, right? So this is a high level diagram that how do we envision about integrated OT IT technologies in the smart buildings. So if you see on the left hand side, you see all kind of building systems, energy systems, safety, security, fire, HVAC, and any kind of other subsystems. And you see on the right hand side all kind of external subsystems, right? So it how do we bring in all of these subsystems at one single layer, so that the cognition aspect comes later, but first we have the integrated data layer itself, to have all the data at one single layer. So we, Johnson Control, have a technology called Open Blue, where we can bring in all the subsystems, OT and IT subsystem at one single layer. And I'll showcase some of the highly executable and value oriented use cases which we have delivered this technology, right? So I mean, when we talk about all kind of subsystems, whether it has building automation systems, equipment, energy, sensors, open API, and CMMS and ERP, all kind of subsystems. And when it comes to one single platform layer, and there are different sub applications developed over it, whether we related to a smart sustainability, smart operations, or performance advisory, because when we talk about how all of these global trends of technologies, how they can be utilized even within buildings first, right? So we talk about, let's say, AI. So we have delivered many use cases and are ready with those use cases of usage of AI related to the performance advisory and smart operations. I'll talk about those use cases. So starting with some smart sustainability use cases, right? So energy management is one of the core use case of in the direction to this cognitive buildings and autonomous buildings direction. So having one unified layer where we can have the energy management dashboarding and analytics of across the portfolio at one single layer, where the comparison between the performance last year to this year, or comparison against the baseline, or we talk about comparison between spaces to spaces, so that from the smart operations perspective and a smart FM perspective, there can be a proper decision making using the data analytics and this information, right? The same thing goes with the net zero advisory, with COP28 coming in next 1 or 2 months here, right? I mean, there'll be definitely a lot of focus already in a lot of organizations that how do we go to net zero goals. And so we have a very easy to implement and easy to deploy, like a net zero advisory tool, which actually talks about the scope 1, scope 2 emissions, and you can, there is a possibility to do how do we set the goal setting against our net zero target, and how do we actually monitor those targets, and how do we see that how much behind we are and what sort of actions we need to take, and in from the smart sustainability perspective. When we are talking about energy management and net zero advisory, we also have to see the baselines and, how do we, have a live monitoring of all of those baselines monitoring. So, I mean, we have this pretty much available, where we are easy to actually check in, near real time that are we exceeding the baseline or we're near the baseline, and then accordingly corrective actions to be taken, for that, right? Since we are talking about energy aspect and smart sustainability of it, asset management is very important piece of all of these component, right? Because if our assets do not perform up to the most optimum efficiency, and they consume more than required energy, obviously that impacts to the energy performance of the facilities, and facilities in the future are not going to have only the energy management, but also very important and critical to focus on the asset management piece of it, that every asset. And I'll just give an example. If all the HVAC assets, let's say, are they performing up to the most optimum efficiency to drive the most efficient and sustainable outcomes, right? So asset management is important here, right? And if we go into a little bit of details, that how does it drive the sustainability using the FDD, which is fault detection diagnosis, right? So if let's say any of HVAC asset is not performing up to the most optimum efficiency, or there are certain parameters or logics which it's not able to achieve, so it means it is either consuming more energy to run it to continue to its operations, and it means it is consuming a lot of energy more than required. So how they could be fault detection diagnosis and predictive fault identification to basically not only look at the predictive maintenance aspect of it, but also to how that exceeding consumption of energy can be saved through that process, right? And when we get these kind of alert and fault detection diagnosis, we can go into details that, okay, up to the sub asset level or sub equipment level, what could be the issues for this fault, or and then that can be tracked down up to the equipment level, and then accordingly the actions can be taken, whether with integration to CMMS systems, and people actually start talking about integrated IIFM. So whether CMS or CMMS or a smart FM system integration can easily do that work order resolution, right? There are a lot of analytics, into this from the fault detection diagnosis, that not only how the equipment uptime, is managed, but also the monetization of these faults. Because if there is a particular diagnosis, but if the action is not taken, then it does not arrive into the, whether we talk about the cost avoidance scenarios or the energy saving scenario. So taking the action and having the fault monetization part of it is very important, which is pretty much executable. I mean, in the same.
Sorry, Mr. Rajan, we have only 5 minutes.
Okay, no problem. Thank you so much. Yeah, so since I started in the beginning that if we do not have the cognitive on buildings, then we'll not have the cognitive cities. So there is a very important component here from the smart operations and smart sustainability perspective, and how AI can be utilized, and in that segment, right? Just think about the scenario that the place where you are sitting in right now, probably in a meeting room or conference room, right? Or a room, that what kind of parameters does impact the performance of the place, right? Energy performance of the place. So we talk about either heating or cooling, from HVAC perspective, or we talk about the occupancy, or we talk about air quality, or we talk about weather patterns, or historical data, or historical performance. So there are multiple parameters which impacts the performance of that particular space or facility, or in that sense, right? So when we have so many various parameters, a man-made decision could be wrong, because there is a trade-off between all of these parameters. Example, if we want to have better cooling, better air quality, then we might have to push more cooling, and it means the energy consumption goes high if we want to have the better air quality, right? And same thing goes with other 3 parameters as well. So when we have this multiple parameters with a multi trade-off scenarios, we need AI and machine learning logics to basically solve this equation. We Johnson Control have developed, Open Blue Performance Advisor, an AI-driven analytics, tool which gives actually insights and options using the machine learning and AI logics that, okay, if we take this option 1, then this could drive into saving XYZ energy, and this will be the air quality and various other parameters, right? And then option 2, so there could be various options available from the smart operation perspective of the facilities, that if the decision makers can make an XYZ decision based on their internal policies and the various options available with this AI-driven insights, right? This is a very impactful tool. And we are also going a step further, that not only the recommendations, AI-driven insights come into picture, but how in future it becomes a cognitive, and those actions actually automatically push to the facilities through the BMS or the operation system to make those automatic decisions in the auto mode. We already have it for certain segment of facilities, like talking about chiller plants and all. We have solution where the autonomous mode to run those chiller plants at the most optimum efficiency can be done already, but we're coming up with in terms of the building as well for the autonomous operations of this facilities, right? So I mean, this is pretty important, and how this AI insights, AI-enabled use cases are useful for these facilities of the future perspective. There is one more angle which I wanted to cover very quickly about the digital twin. So when we talk about digital twin as a new futuristic technology for facilities of the future from a smart city perspective, digital twin brings in the unified 3D visualization in the real time from either incident management perspective or smart sustainability perspective as well. So smart sustainability use cases can be utilized or applied either with digital twin as well, without digital twin as well. So I mean, all of these technologies are pretty much available and ready to execute, right? So I'll close my session with this, that if we don't have the cognitive smart buildings, smart cognitive cities will be may not be, this is a important important block for this journey to have the smart sustainable cities, and we need to have smart sustainable buildings to meet those smart sustainable cities goals. So I'll pause here and open to questions.
Thank you, Mr. Rajan, for important information. And now we can take questions from the attendee. Any question?
I think so far, Mr. Zahar, no questions for now, but we can delay it for the Q&A.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. الجلسة الآن الثانية هي بعنوان الذكاء الاصطناعي وإنترنت الأشياء في قيادة المدن الذكية. الأستاذ سامر ظفري. Artificial Intelligence and Internet of Things Driving Smart Cities. الأستاذ سامر ظفري موجود. أستاذ سامر. يبدو أنه الأستاذ سامر ظفري الجلسة الثانية غير متاح. المهندس سعد العاني الآن محاضرة، نعم، محاضرة الأستاذ المهندس سعد العاني. ستكون محاضرة بعنوان بناء مدن خضراء عفوا بناء مدن خضراء بمواصفات مثالية مدينة محمد بن راشد مثالا. تفضل أستاذ المهندس سعد. أستاذ سامر موجود؟
Hi, good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
عفوا نعم. إذا الآن المحاضرة للأستاذ سامر الغفري بعنوان الذكاء الاصطناعي وإنترنت الأشياء في قيادة المدن الذكية. تفضل أستاذ سامر.
Yes, thank you very much. I hope my audio is clear for everyone. Just give me a moment while I share my screen. Please let me know once the screen is visible. Right, can you see the screen, everyone? Is it visible?
No.
I think so. Mr. Ryan's tiny. He must to switch off his screen.
Okay. Okay.
Just a moment. Let me try again. Yeah, please let me know when you're able to see it.
Okay.
Okay,
It's
perfect.
okay.
It's visible now?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
First of all, thank you so much. I'd like to thank the organizers for putting up such a fine event. It has been really insightful couple of days, listening to all the knowledgeable and the industry experts. So thank you, and a big shout out to all the organizers. Now, coming back to the topic for today, for me is artificial intelligence, the role of AI and IoT in driving smart cities, essentially. So this is a broad topic, but I would try to restrict myself to the basics in order to give maximum value out of this. First of all, what is AI essentially? So it's at the very basic level, it is simulated intelligence for machines. So we try to empower machines or computers wherein they can act like humans. Yeah, and there are multiple approaches to this, and different fields have basically utilized different aspects of working with AI, whether it is machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, or vision computing, which is more towards the visual aspects of AI. Yeah, and finally, when you look at the smart city infrastructure, it's a holistic approach. When you say smart city, it's a holistic approach, and you have multiple aspects coming in, be it smart lighting, smart transportation, smart buildings, which I think Mr. Rajan gave a very nice presentation before me, highlighting the aspects of importance and importance of incorporating intelligence into buildings these days. And similarly, we have various aspects from smart transportations to waste disposal, smart lighting, or smart production at the end of the day. I'll try to touch upon these topics briefly. And for the sake of convenience and focus, I have white labeled the presentation to avoid any marketing stuff to come up. So if you look at the basics, the system architecture, how it all works, how basically we can leverage these technologies of AI and IoT to empower smart cities. At the very base level, if you see, we have the infrastructure. Now these could be your AC units if you're talking about an HVAC system. These could be chillers. These could be fire alarm panels, which are holding very important and critical alarms for an entire community or a building. This could be anything. This could be a factory. This could be a whole city or multiple cities together. It really boils down to how the infrastructure is sensorized. So we basically place what we call as sensors or IoT devices or edge devices on these critical infrastructure, and these sensors are then relaying information to the upper level, which essentially is the IoT platform, wherein the system culminates, and then you have it is backed up by a centralized database, a data repository, which is able to store this information coming from sensors in a streamlined manner. And then finally, at the top, this information, this huge big data pile that we have is being utilized to carry out all the analytics and all sort of things which leverage the power of AI, because data is critical in order to come up with these analytics. Yeah. Moving on, if you want to get more granular, this is again behind the scenes, whether you see actually what is at level 0, you have these equipments, these walls, or these could be flow meters. The information from these are going to what we call as programmable logic controllers or BMS controllers in case of buildings. And then there is a security level where the information is encrypted these days with a call for OT security or cyber security getting louder and louder. We have a strict security compliance to follow. And then finally, you have the topmost layer, which comprises of operators and the engineering stations, where all the information is being consumed and visualized and necessary actions are taken. Some of the applications of this approach, which involves the use of AI and IoT in transforming cities these days, could be applied to multiple disciplines. I have taken a few examples wherein we talk about predictive maintenance a lot, which can help prevent breakdowns and reduce a lot of wastage and reduce a lot of energy to foster sustainability in smart cities these days. Green production, water management, so essentially saving water. The leak detection mechanism, which is powered by AI and IoT, is one of the things that we can look at. When you talk of predictive maintenance, this is one example of one of the customer sites who is basically powering wind turbines across Europe, and they have these large wind turbines which are basically producing green energy and contributing to the reduction of CO2 emissions for this particular city. And these windmills are basically critical to the power consumption or the power being produced. So these are mounted with some special sensors, and critical parameters of these windmills are then monitored through an IoT platform or a SCADA platform. And then the information gathered from there is actually fed into the AI engine, or we call this a condition monitoring system, which is backed up by AI. And this basically determines the health of the asset. So how long would this particular turbine last, or the critical aspects like motors, which are behind the turbine, are they likely to fail in the next 3 months or 8 months? So we will get a complete health analysis in order to ensure that we are able to address the situation much in advance. So this is an example of predictive maintenance and how AI is basically powering this particular mechanism. This is a topographical view of all the different assets. This could be, again, needless to say, could be applied to any kind of assets within a city. The next step is talking of green production these days, because it's important, again, that factories also contribute to that reduction in CO2 emission. And that is why we have various software these days. One of the software that we use as a part of our offering is basically empowering people at the production level to come up with code-free models of production. So they can identify anomalies which are leading up to wastage of foods. They can forecast events. So one case that comes to mind, specifically talking of smart cities, is when this was applied to one of our clients in Western Europe, a particular city which was running short of predicting the demand of energy for the entire city, because there the concept of district cooling is more prevalent as opposed to district heating, or the other way around. They prefer heating because those are cold countries. So in order for them to be very precise and save time and effort, they wanted to predict what would be the energy consumption so that they can produce the energy accordingly. And that is where the software, the AI software came in, and it was able to give them an option to forecast events. So they were able to actually, by the end of the project, they were able to identify the peak load demand for energy or for that particular city. And they were in a position when they were precisely producing the exact amount of energy which was required. So they were neither underproducing nor overproducing. This saved them a ton of energy, a ton of money, and CO2 reduction, needless to say. This is again the behind the scenes show for how it all works. AI is again a culmination of multiple processes, whether it is data being injected through multiple systems or gathered from multiple systems, and the cumbersome tasks of data cleaning, data mining, data structuring. All these aspects are typically done by a data scientist, and these are manual, but with the help of AI and the tools, these can be automated. And basically you get a code-free engine which can basically be utilized by any kind of staff working on the production line or working towards energy savings, and they can create models as per the demand. Some of the other examples are motors, because motors are widely used, be it buildings. These days you see every building's having tons of motors, and factories having motors. The world basically operates on motors, and one of the solutions that we are fostering these days is basically taking data from these motors without any sensor. So we rely on our patented devices, we call them the MDR, and they are basically fetching information through the current signature and voltage signatures of these motors without having to mount any fancy temperature sensors or vibration sensors on the motors. Then this information is fed into a deep learning engine. This could be over cloud or on premise, and that information is then culminated in form of a report, which is able to tell you again the health of the asset, the health of the motor, or what is the status of the winding, how long will it take for the motor to burn out, how much energy are we saving. So all these analytics are available, or predictive insights are available with the help of AI-based engine. Again, leak detection is one of the important aspects, wherein we mount specialized IoT devices on the pipes, on the distribution pipes, and again, this information from these sensors is going to an AI engine, which is able to determine the pattern, the usage pattern, and then based on that, it can identify where the leak points are and whether the leak is happening or not, and then the information is passed on in form of alarms, or even the control options are possible, where the valve is shut in case of any leakage, and then it can be attended to immediately. So this is one of the other aspects. Green buildings, I think I will not go deeper into this because it's already discussed in the previous presentation, but needless to say, buildings are an important aspect. In fact, one of the things that I can show you here is one of the projects that we did, wherein we created a point cloud for several buildings. If you see here, I just run through this in a bit. So this is one of the projects wherein we narrowed down to a particular building, and we were able to, again, this is all basically done through BIM, and we create a point cloud, and essentially this data from the point cloud is fed into an AI engine, which is able to understand what is normal and what is abnormal for this kind of a building, in terms of maintenance issues, in terms of any other challenges that the maintenance team is facing, and then the information can be used to deploy maintenance teams to those areas, and carry out other maintenance activities. Even a walk through the building is possible using simulated intelligence in the platform. Yeah, so this is one of the use cases that we have for buildings, how an entire building can be captured through BIM, and then a point cloud could be created using which we can leverage the power of AI. Last but not the least, again, in this particular case, we are trying to emphasize how it all works out. So different parts of the cities or buildings are sensorized. I mean, these could be temperature sensors, this could be occupancy sensors. I mean, I remember a case, just to conclude it, wherein a particular authority in Saudi, they wanted the mosques, they wanted to know what is the total number of people present in individual mosques, so as to facilitate people with the right information, and they can go to the mosques which are less crowded. For instance, this was done during the time of COVID. During this exercise, we deployed certain IoT devices within the mosques, which were counting people. So these were counting devices in real time. And this information was again pushed to a cloud infrastructure where the authorities could see the load of a particular mosque in terms of the number of people present. And then this information was published on the website for people to check in their vicinity which particular mosque is less crowded, let's say for the Friday prayer, and they would want to go at a particular time, and they could pick and choose the mosque, and they could go accordingly. So these are some of the examples that I could cite for which I think form a good use case for smart cities and how AI and IoT are basically empowering this infrastructure these days. So I'll rest my presentation here and I'll be open for questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. سامر. شكرا أستاذ سامر على المحاضرة المهمة وعلى الالتزام بالوقت. وأرجو إذا كان هناك أسئلة من السادة الحضور ممكن إضافتها إلى قسم Q&A، أو أيضا يوجد فرصة للمناقشة في نهاية هذا المحور بعد انتهاء المحاضرات الخاصة بهذا المحور. الآن أعتقد لا يوجد أسئلة. ننتقل إلى الجلسة السادسة، وهي بعنوان بناء مدن خضراء بمواصفات مثالية to build the green cities with full perfect specification. محمد بن راشد سيتي for example. يقدمها الأستاذ المهندس سعد العاني. تفضل أستاذ سعد. أستاذ سعد الصوت غير
نعم
واضح. نعم تفضل.
السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام.
بس أشير تشير ما يكريت. ممكن منكم نعم.
تفضل. تفضل
السلام
الصورة
عليكم.
واضحة. نعم عليكم السلام.
ما
الصوت
green city.
غير واضح. نعم أنت
To build
تفضل.
a green city with full perfect specification, and for example, Mohammed bin Rashid city. We all know that the most important these days is the energy. It's important for drive all policies for all countries. It is key for development and backwardness. مفتاح الطاقة، والطاقة هي تعتبر مفتاح سياسة جميع الدول، وجميع الدول تهتم بهذا الموضوع. وأهم موضوع في مجال الطاقة هو اللي يستهلك جزء أكبر من الطاقة the most important part of the energy, which the big consumption of energy of it, is air conditioning. So if we find something instead of air conditioning, or we don't use air conditioning, then what we will have? We will have 80% of energy saving. 80% of energy saving. So how can we use this information? Please, second page. Second page, please. Second page, please.
أستاذ سعد، هل يوجد مشكلة؟
شيء بس ممكن تحول على الصفحة الثانية. قدم صفحة.
نعم، أعتقد نعم، أنا لا أملك يعني صلاحية تحريك الشاشة. نعم، أعتقد هي الموضوع.
المشاركة من عندك مهندس سعد.
من عندك أستاذ سعد، أنت هي شاشتك. نعم. أستاذ سعد، ممكن من خلال على الصفحة ممكن تضغط الصفحة التالية في ملف PDF اللي معروض.
مجال سيطرة، مجال سيطرة
من
عليه
هنا نعم، من هنا يعني. نعم أستاذ سعد، يوجد هنا نعم الأزرار هذه للتنقل.
راح اتكلمها بشكل سريع. الفوائد المباشرة لهذا الشيء، direct benefits use anything instead of air conditioning is through it we can make useful from the cost, useful from the area, useful from number of equipment homes of electricity. المنازل المجهزة بالكهرباء عددهم ممكن يزيد، الأسعار كمية الكهرباء المجهزة راح تشمل أكبر عدد، الثمن هذه الكهرباء راح يزيد، الأراضي area of land we use it we can use less number of area. And for example, when we use the area for 43 square kilometer, we can use it instead of 215 square kilometer. This is when you use a project of 700 megawatt electricity, concentrated solar energy in Mohammed Rashid complex. So number of amount of isotopic fuel consumed is a big number. What I want to say is there is equipment for central air conditioning. When we use it, we can save 80% from electricity. This chiller name is absorption chiller. The consumption of electricity for this chiller is very small number, because it uses pump, not use compressor. Compressor use need for a high number of electricity current. This absorption chiller need for small number, because it uses pump. So the complex of Mohammed Rashid, the complex for solar energy, there is for example for it, there is the consolidated solar energy CSP with the capacity 700 watt megawatt electricity. If we can use the there is steam sent to air from this system. We can use this steam for what? For use it in the absorption chiller. So what's the useful, then we multiply the benefit for 5x. The cost for the 700 megawatt normally is 14 million dirham. So when we pay this number, we said we paid instead of 72 million dirham. Number two, the cost of electricity. We will equip less number of electricity, so we will have the cost of electricity will be paid for us. At the same time, we have cooling. Central air conditioning cooling will be sent to the apartments. This will pay for it. The area The area for the 700 megawatt is 43. This instead of 250 square kilometers. Numbers of homes we equip is 1,350,000 houses instead of 270,000 houses. The amount of isotopic fuel consumed is 1,349,040 liters. It will be instead of 6,745,200 liters. This concentrated solar thermal generation from sun, so there is no way for fuel.
عذرا المقاطعة مهندس سعد، لدينا 5
نعم.
دقائق فقط.
نعم، تفضل.
تفضل تابع، لدينا فقط 5 دقائق الوقت المخصص. تفضل تابع أستاذ سعد.
الو،
تفضل أستاذ سعد تابع.
solar energy will there's no need to wait for the sun above any coast, but there is if we use the same capacity of megawatt with fuel, the fuel cost is annually 3,251,186.40 dirham instead of 16,255,932 dirham. There is the cost of repair and maintenance. It will be very small numbers. We will contribute to be reducing environment pollution. The amount of carbon dioxide will be prevented from being emitted annually, which is 1,400,000 tons. It will be 7 million tons. The comparison between the power plant using solar energy capacity 700 megawatt. This is what we have. 3,000 500 megawatt. What will we expect to have if we use absorption chiller? 2,800 megawatt electricity. This is the difference between the both.
أستاذ
This
سعد، هل يوجد
table,
مشكلة في الصوت؟
this table will explain the all difference between everything. This and this. Example for generation station of electricity using solar thermal energy concentrated in the countries around the world. There is a big number of this station. I give symbols of it like this, like this one in California, this Stirling engine, this in Spain, Andalus. This Alabama and California. This is Solarabic Company. This is Oasis in Morocco. This is the plan for the project I talk about, the 700 megawatt electricity. The plan. That's the plan.
أستاذ سعد، معنا دقيقة واحدة إذا بتحب تختم الجلسة بكلمة أخيرة.
نعم. كلام الأخير أنه المجمع حمد الراشد يقع في طالق دبي. طالق دبي هي شبه صحراء، بس بجانب دبي تختلف عن باقي الجوانب أنه من جهة الشارقة ومن جهة الخليج ومن جهة أبو ظبي. فامتداد المستقبل راح يكون إلى جهة جهة هذا المشروع. فاحنا اذا استعملنا هذه الارض الصالحه لبناء مشروع بناء مدينه جديده، ستكون تكاليف وفوائد كبيره. شكرا.
شكرا لكم مهندس سعد. أعتقد في سؤال من سهير آغا. هل يوجد سؤال؟ في شخص يرفع يده بالشات. لا يوجد أسئلة أعتقد بالغلط. المحاضرة الآن هي عفوا المحاضرة الآن هي بعنوان GPS Tracking System as Smart City Helpness Solution with AI with Mr. بيوتر كازمارك من شركة بتروفيجن. Mr. بيوتر.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Do you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, Salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
How are you today? Hope you slept well before my boring speech. I don't want you will sleep in my time of my speech. So hopefully you slept well, all of you.
Okay.
Let me introduce myself. I am owner of the Petrovision company. which was established 1993 in September. So my company has exactly 30 years and 1 week. So it's little younger than me. Yeah. So in the beginning, I was doing low voltage systems. Let me start with my screen. Do you see my screen?
No, not yet. Now we are seeing it.
Not yet.
No, now it's clear.
Now you see?
Yes.
Okay. So in the beginning, I was doing low voltage systems security installations. It was in my company history. It's what I've done before. Alarm systems, access control system, and others, a lot of. You can read about it on my webpage. And since 15 years, parallelly, I start to do GPS tracking system. Wait a second, because I have some issue with to go back with this web page. Okay. I start parallelly to do GPS tracking system, which is totally my technology, beginning from the devices, from a GPS trackers, and to the customer visuality. So it means web page and the app for the customer, for the end users. Since almost 2 years, I am also resident of United Arab Emirates, Dubai. As I said, means producing and developing and producing GPS tracking system since 10 years. In 100% made in Poland by my company, by Petrovision. My system is very accurate. What I want to show you, it's my last days of traveling in Dubai, not in only Dubai, in Emirates. So I was traveling with my car for the meetings, for some agenda which I have already. So also I didn't have any speech, any time to prepare some special slides or something like this. But I want to show you on the live system. My system is very accurate, up to 0.5 to 1 meter accuracy. And what does it not have some chip system too? Is that means not losing any frame of data. Even GSM data transmission sometimes is broken, even some failure with the servers. All data frames will come for 100% after returning GSM transmission or server failures. Device must receive confirmation from the server that sended data are stored in server. If not, device will send a data frame until receiving confirmation from server. All devices must have also certified, confirmed by server by email number of a device. It means no any alien device will connect to my server, to my system. It shows quality of the system, accuracy, security, and again, security of the system. And I want to show you as an example, accuracy of my system. There is one loop on the road, which I've done. Do you see my screen? Hello?
Yes, we still
Yes,
see.
yes.
Okay, there is a road and the blue line is traveling by my car. Do you see this loop?
Yes.
It's very
Can you
important.
please use the full screen show?
Sorry? I beg your pardon, sir?
Yes, you can. But can you use the full screen mode?
I hear you very bad. I don't understand what are you telling to me. Sorry, sir.
Sorry.
No
problem. No.
You were saying, can you open the full screen mode if it is there?
It's not fully screen.
If you can just like increase it or enlarge the map again.
I try to do this.
From the plus sign on the left. It's fine. It's now good. No worries.
No problem. No.
But do you see this loop or not?
Yeah, this is good. Yeah.
And the roads where I was traveling, you see, it's exactly written where was the car traveling. So this is very important for this, what I am going to tell. This year in July, I have signed an agreement in Colombia, in Medellin, city of Pablo Escobar, as everybody knows it. There is a web page from this university. I am in the middle between rectors of this university. About this, you can read typing in Google, for example, Petrovision in Colombia. I was one of the Polish company at this time presented my technology on Expo in Bogota, the capital of Colombia. And Mr. Fernando Colmenares, which is professor there on this university, very known professor in Colombia, he asked me to start a cooperation with the university. Together, we'll do AI, artificial intelligence connected with my system to do a smart city system, which will allow to know to lower traffic in the cities around the world. So we are going to control traffic lights depending on the current traffic volume. Refreshment of a data about the traffic in the city can be done every 1 to 2 seconds. We can say fully live. This system, it's my idea. I was thinking to dedicate it to the buses, especially to make for them green light for the buses. Of course, it's better when it's dedicated bus line like is in Europe, in my country. So it's more easy to do this. In Dubai, I haven't seen any bus lines, dedicated bus lines. But generally, we can manage traffic lights for all of the cars, not only for the buses, but better is for the buses to make as a priority for the buses. So people can travel by a buses much quicker than by a car. This is our idea. Especially in Bogota, in Colombia, there is mess, which is going about the traffic in the city. I was traveling last time in Bogota in July this year. I think so distance about 2-3 kilometers, more than 1 hour. So it's terribly there. So already I want to do this system for not first for Bogota, but for the city Medellin, which is about 200 kilometers from Bogota. It's very developed, very good, very well developed city, which is still developing and waiting for new technologies. Already part of this system is done, and now we want to continue of this work. But of course, all IT jobs cost a lot of money, and we get stuck because of money, if I can tell about this. So I know that you are representing, for example, Dubai municipality or other cities. So maybe if some city are representing city are interested in this solution, can be our sponsor. This way, first we'll receive the system with at least 80–90% discount from us. For the other representative of cities will be also discount much lower. If some questions, please, in question and answer session, give them to me, okay? Presently, I am in Dubai until Friday early morning. This way is also possible to meet personally with me. I wish you all the best to live in our green cities. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you, Mr. Vyota.
Yeah.
For this information. Any question?
I think so in panel question and answers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. ننتقل الآن إلى الجلسة الثانية بعنوان Building Tomorrow Modular and Lightweight Construction for Future Spaces مع مريم السيدة مريم حكيم من سان جوبان Gulf Countries.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So I assume you can hear me well.
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Okay.
Let me just try to find the screen that I am currently sharing. I'm sorry, I know that we are behind schedule for a few minutes. So I'm going to try to make it a little bit fast.
Okay.
Good afternoon again. My name is Miriam Hakim, and I'm the head of specification for Saint-Gobain Gulf Countries. And I will discuss with you, and I will show you the future way of building the construction types, and we're going to discuss lightweight and modular construction at the moment. Just at the beginning, I'll give you a really quick brief about Saint-Gobain. So Saint-Gobain started in France in production of glass only, but that was 350 years ago. And throughout the years, the company have grown, and now we are covering 75 countries around the world. And we are into not only glass, but the different manufacturing and production facilities for different systems that I will quickly show you at the moment. The turnover of the company is more than 50 billion euros, and we have 8 R&D centers around the world. Each one is working at the region that they are at. We always communicate together, and we definitely have a lot of manufacturing facilities around the world. So the company is big, and our purpose is making the world a better home by, of course, thinking and while designing our products and solutions. So the vision of the company is being the worldwide leader in light and sustainable construction. And that's basically going hand in hand with our purpose. In the region here in the Middle East and what we call Eastern Mediterranean and Middle East region, we are covering most of the countries. We're covering actually 13 countries. We have 43 production sites. And we have a lot of employees from different nationalities. So basically, we produce from waterproofing to repair materials, industrial flooring and flooring systems, mortars as a whole. We do have many companies that produce insulation. We cover gypsum, acoustic gypsum, as well as glass, admixtures for concrete, and some others. So when we talk about off-site manufacturing, the process, what does it mean? It means that we need to plan first the project. We need to know that it needs to be completed off-site at very early on. We should design it, fabricate it, ship it, and assemble it on site. So that's the process of off-site manufacturing. You can see that in the region, the UAE is advancing with off-site manufacturing, sometimes in residential buildings. In the UAE, they are providing pods, either kitchen pods, toilet pods, but in other type of buildings, they are also providing some sort of off-site manufacturing. And we are being asked a lot nowadays by consultants as well as contractors and developers about off-site manufacturing. So off-site manufacturing has a lot of benefits. It saves the cost for sure. It saves the time because design does not need to be completed during the design stage. So from a design perspective, the designer can work up to schematic design or early detailed design stage, but then the off-site manufacturer is the one that completes the whole thing. And in case there's any shortage in labors, then it's the off-site manufacturer company that takes the whole liability on laborship. And of course, from management of materials, then instead of having a lot of trucks delivering steel, delivering gypsum, other trucks delivering waterproofing, glass, and so on to site, and having the site and logistics as a mess, then everything is done off-site with the off-site manufacturer company. So what is the presence of Saint-Gobain in all of this? Globally, as I mentioned before, while designing, Saint-Gobain actually designs the systems for off-site manufacturing. We fabricate as well, we install, and then, of course, while installation, we also innovate to design better, and then it's always a cycle. So worldwide, we do have production facilities and fabrication facilities. Locally, we work with off-site and modular construction companies to advise them on how to fabricate the bathroom pods, kitchen pods, other precast industries, and PPVC items, so and units. So we can do the whole thing together with the modular construction companies, and we can do panels. So for example, currently we are working on a lot of projects for Saudi Arabia in off-site manufacturing. So they will be building them here and shipping them. So we can offer different systems for these modular construction companies. We offer them facade systems, flooring systems, some tiling solutions, waterproofing, customized gypsum board lengths, and ceiling solutions, depending on what they require. So what would be basically our offer? let me just brief you on the offer that we are providing. Externally, for example, we have innovated one of the gypsum boards that is called the Glassrock X board. It's a sheathing board that is designed to be used externally. So this board, similarly to other types of boards and materials and solutions that we have, is EPD certified. So we are ticking the box when it comes to sustainable solutions at Saint-Gobain. And of course, it's a hydrophobic and anti-mold board. That's why it can be used externally. It's also lightweight. It can bend, so we can make curvatures and circles with it up to 1 meter diameter if required. It can be directly painted. It can be exposed completely to the weather conditions until it's painted and it's covered with all the finishing. So it's an easy board, it's lightweight, and hence it can be used as well for modular construction. Internally, we have different types of also solutions, starting with a Habito board that is that can take loads of 30 kilograms per screw. So these type of things can be used as well, of course, in modular construction. And this is for future proofing. We can use different systems of ceilings as well as acoustic ceilings. We can have an acoustic floating solution as well, some waterproofing, and some special systems, of course. Some decorative floating solutions with different patterns and which are sustainable and good for the environment. So these type of solutions, they can be used in new construction as well as modular construction. New construction, when I say new, is the typical type of construction as well as modular construction. Also, from an HVAC perspective, we can have pre-insulated ducts that are easily installed, as well as building slabs and rolls that can be used either within the partitions, above the ceilings, and in different areas of construction. Before jumping into recycling, I would like to definitely mention that when it comes to solutions for modular construction, we have to always take into consideration that the panel or the pod or the room itself is moving from a place to another. So it will need to be carried and put on the truck. It needs to go through the logistics. It needs to go through the drive, let's say, from an area to another. And that's why it needs to accommodate some movements. That's why the solution that might be suitable for traditional construction cannot be suitable for modular construction for sure, but it is designed and assembled in a way that can take that trip. From a recycling perspective, what we offer is as well in our manufacturing plant, we combine all the gypsum board partitions, for instance, and other solutions and take them back to the factory to recycle them again. So this is something that is an added value from a recycling perspective, especially nowadays with sustainability. We do have also within the team a specification manager or a key account manager as well that deals from a commercial side with all the modular contracting companies. We can supply the whole scope together, so it's not just the modular construction company does not need to go to different manufacturing or suppliers. And we can provide as well with BIM and Revit files whenever required. As a proof of concept as well, with regards to the different solutions, we have completed almost 9 or 10 months ago our first proof of concept in the region to show that when the solutions are combined together, it would be a sustainable project. So I invite you all to visit Al-Muntada, which is a knowledge space by Saint-Gobain. It's in Masdar City, Abu Dhabi, and we are producing our own energy. So we're producing more than is required to run this project. It's a small showroom as well as an office building. However, it's also LEED Gold certified, Istidama 4 rating, and you can see that beautiful buildings can also be sustainable ones. So we've used many of our solutions in that project, and of course, welcome to visit. So that's my intervention. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me or reach out. Hello?
Hello, thank you. Any question? Okay, thank you, Miriam, for your.
Thank you.
Thank you. نعم، في سؤال تصويت ممكن تجاوب عليه. تطلع تظهر شاشة للتصويت. نرجو من المشاركين اختيار البلد اللي يعني اللي بيشاركوا منه. تمام. لا، هو مش الموضوع دولة واحدة، أو هي أقاليم تم تحديدهم حسب الأقاليم، يعني الخليج العربي، منطقة الشام، العراق، مصر والسودان، يعني حتى نشوف من أين المشاركات موجودة. شكرا للمشاركة. تمام. ننتظر قليلا فقط لدخول المحاضر القادم. تمام. يبدو المحاضر القادم اعتذر عن الجلسة. هل يوجد أسئلة من الأخوة الحضور؟ نتمنى أيضا اللي بيرسل سؤال على الكيو أند إيه يعني يذكر اسم المتحدث يعني الموجه له السؤال حتى تتم الإجابة عنه. نعم. نعم. ممكن لو في أسئلة أيضا نضيفها على Q&A. أستاذي ملاك، في أسئلة عند حضرتك؟
نعم، في بعض الأسئلة وصلتنا لا للسبيكرز، فنعتذر، لكن الآن حنحول مرة أخرى للإنجليزي كون السبيكرز بيحكوا إنجليزي. So I would like to ask our esteemed speakers who participated in the first session today to open their cameras and to be ready for some questions, please. Okay. For the first question for Mr. Piotr, we received a question about how does the integration of the GPS tracking with AI contribute to enhancing the efficiency of the urban transportation?
Thank you for the question. Do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. As I said, we are using my system, GPS tracking system, and later we are sending a data through artificial intelligence and through the city, through the system city, which should be already integrated, but about the traffic lights. For example, in Medellin in Colombia, they have already prepared a system where from one place they can switch the traffic lights remotely or automatically. And this way we are connecting to such system, which is already integrated about a connection between the traffic lights. So we can such system moderate working of such system, moderating of timing between green lights on the particular crossing. So this is our solution.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Another question is like followed by another question is
also to me, sorry.
Yeah, for you, yeah, because okay. It's let's say one block to be followed. There is also this question: what could be briefly the key features that make this technology valuable for the city management? I saw you mentioned it earlier, but I think people are interested to see it or to explain it more in a brief way.
Yeah, as I told, if we will use this just for the buses to make a green light for the buses, so we can imagine the people will not wait in a traffic inside of the cars, they will move into a buses. This is this idea. It's very important because this way everyone don't want to stay on the streets in the traffic too long. So for example, in capital of Poland where I am living there, Warsaw, there are bus lines dedicated only for the buses. And sometimes I am always driving a car in Warsaw, but sometimes I see almost with tears in my eyes when the bus is passing by to my car. So, and still I am waiting. So if there will be a good communication, good solution, public transport with green lights for them, a lot of people will move to the buses. We made already with the university in Colombia. We made we gave some such questions to the people. If we will do quicker public transport than car public transport, if they will move into a buses. Or the second question was if the price for a bus will come from let's say it's equal to dirhams, I will tell. So from 3 dirham for one travel to 2 dirham. So both questions, about 70% people said that they will move to the buses, and it gives first of all, it gives a lower traffic in the cities. And of course, the second feature is for cities is that we have a lower pollution. If less cars are on the street, we have lower pollution. And the third one, people are losing less time, which costs a lot of money in the gross product of the country. So there is a lot of features use such solution, use such system. So this is my way. This is what was my idea to do such system. And anyway, I am going to do this. Today I received some information from Colombia that they're very interested in my solution, and even probably the president of Colombia want to meet directly with me about this system, because they have really big issues, really big problem with the traffic in the whole Colombia, especially in Bogota. Thank you.
Really interesting, and as everyone believes after hearing about that system, it's leading to more resilient and, let's say, responsive urban environment. Thank you for this amazing and innovative idea. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I am appreciated.
With all pleasure. Unfortunately, our other speakers had other commitments, so they won't be able to answer the Q&A session. But you can send them the questions during the emails, and they would be super happy to answer them. Thank you so much. Handling again to Mr. زاهر. تفضل أستاذ زاهر.
شكرا. الآن نبدأ الجلسة الثانية أو المحور الثاني والخاص ب الغذاء والماء، حلول الغذاء والماء. نبدأ مع المحاضرة الأولى بعنوان تطوير منصة إلكترونية لتوريد الأغذية وإمكانية التتبع باستخدام تقنية البلوك تشين. الدكتورة غادة القاضي من الأكاديمية العربية للعلوم والتكنولوجيا والنقل البحري. المحاضرة Developing an e-portal for agri-food supply traceability using blockchain technology. دكتور غادة القاضي.
صباح الخير على حضراتكم. مش عارفه حضرتك.
نعم تفضل.
عشان انا حضرتك سامعني كده؟
نعم سامعك، تفضل.
طيب الصوت كده مسموع؟
الصوت مسموع. يبدو عندك جهازين كان الصوت طالع من
بس
نعم
لحظة.
نعم تأكدي من جهاز واحد فقط.
كده الصوت مع حضرتك كويس؟
نعم في صدى للصوت. لو تستخدمي السماعات الأذن أفضل حتى لا يكون في صدى للصوت.
طب لحظة حاضر، عشان أسفة لأن ده مش الميعاد
نعم.
هو الميعاد عشان اتغير
لا هو فقط في صدى خفيف للصوت يعني.
يا ريت إن شاء الله كده يتحل. هو صدى الصوت أنا فاتحة.
نعم، حضرتك فاتحة من يعني جهازين مع بعض يبدو.
بالظبط، بس أنا
نعم.
فاتحة صوت
نعم، ممكن ميوت لأحد
لحظة حضرتك. طب
نعم.
كده الصوت مفيش صدى.
الصوت واضح، تفضل.
صباح الخير على حضراتكم جميعا. بس انتوا حطيتوني في ميعاد غير ميعاد.
If you would like, the other speaker is joining now.
Yes.
ممكن.
Can we make it after this session؟
يعني نسأله بعدين نرجع للسيشن تبعتك.
Yes.
تمام. اوكي، اللي حضورنا الكرام، بس احنا راح نستنى دقيقة. عنا أسئلة لأستاذ سمير from one of our speakers. So he is joining now. We will ask the few questions while Dr. Ghada is being prepared. And sorry for the interruption. حضورنا الكرام، بنحب كمان نسألكم كمان سؤال نطرحه عليكم خلال ما يعني بنحب نتعرف عليكم أكثر دائما كالعادة. فبنحب نسأل عن أي سيكتور أنتم منضمين لنا منه. هل أنتم من ال EPCs أو لو تخبروني هل أنتم من شركات مطورة للمشاريع أو من أكاديميا أو من أي جهة بالضبط. يا أهلا وسهلا بالجميع. دائما بنحب نتعرف عليكم. تمام، راح يطلع لكم سؤال هسه إنه تختاروا من أي قطاع أنتم. شاركوا معانا. أوكي، المعظم من شركات يعني بتنفذ المشاريع أو developers. الناس اللي بتختار خيار آخر اكتبوا لنا بالشات أنتم من أي جهة، نحب نعرفكم. من جهات حكومية، يا أهلا وسهلا.
I'm ready. We can start.
أوكي perfect. بس نبدأ.
نعم، تفضلي دكتورة غادة.
سعدنا بمعرفتكم جميعا، يا أهلا وسهلا. خلينا نوقف نشارك معكم بس النتائج خلال دقيقة ونعطي المايك لدكتورة غادة.
تفضل.
سعيدين بوجودكم جميعا ويا أهلا وسهلا. تفضلي دكتورة غادة.
صباح الخير على حضراتكم جميعا. Let's start our presentation today about developing a blockchain, a traceability platform for blockchain using for agriculture using blockchain technology. This is one of outcomes of EU projects funded by Prima Foundation in EU called Trace and Trust Hub for Food. It's for Mediterranean food, but at the first we just have an overview outlook about the importance of the industry revolution or innovation in technology. It starts from first revolution, then the second revolution, third, fourth, and now we are in the fifth revolution, starting from how to digitalize all data, to go through using to adapt using the Internet of Things or using technology. I will not take too much time talking about the history because I would like to go through actually why the projects focus on agriculture sector Agriculture is very important sector. All world now, especially funded institutes or big funded organizations care about investment in energy and the agriculture sector. Agriculture is taking about around 40% of global workforce. So it's leading the economy of most of companies. That's why the project focused on the agriculture sector, because of the outcome of the sector, as well as agriculture facing a lot of problems. One of the main problems of agriculture supply chain is the lack of cooperation and the integration between suppliers and the other parties in agriculture supply chain, like farmers, producers, distributors, as well as other retailers who sell agriculture product, as well as one of the big or crucial problems is the transparency and the trust between the organs or parties in the supply chain. Transparency in product organ means that the consumer doesn't know or assure of the origin or organ of the product itself. Limited finance sources for farmers in industrial and developing countries, and this is a very important point, that they don't have enough financial resources to improve the farmers' ability and the awareness to know about the traceability and the whole management of the product. The cost of using any advanced technology. PRIMA project, PRIMA is one of EU foundations. This project was 36 months, and actually 10 participants from 7 countries, 7 Mediterranean companies. Here is a map of the companies, all participants from each company. These companies from 7 countries. Egypt, one of these companies, presented in from Arab Academy for Science, Technology, and Maritime Transport. The aim of the scope of the project was to establish a pilot operations for the 7 hubs to develop an integrated one-stop shop for traceability and authenticity, to add value to all participants who is Mediterranean food products in each country involved, and as well as work as a decision support tool for each country who and the participants who work on the platform. Project support the implementation of full path for traceability for the food from the farmer until reach to the consumer, using a voluntary schema of traceability (VST) for meat food, as well as a reference or working as a reference for the participants people. Many objectives and deliveries for the project. One of our first important one was the action to map all requirements needed to create the authentication. Next, how to implement the traceability model for the participants. Then develop a web-based platform divided in 2 different modules based on the value added from the project, to explore the role of third-party body, and this is very important to make sure of the quality of the product and the origin of it, to train the stakeholders, a lot of workshops and the training sessions actually done and finished, and still working on this as well between stakeholders and the project members to demonstrate the usefulness of the application and how to use it effectively to work as a decision support tool, to choose the right country and to choose the right product, to be able to produce the product according to the international standards for exporting this product within the EU and Mediterranean area, to disseminate the project results, to announce, to publish, to advertise all actions related to the project in all over the social media, through websites and other for policy makers as well, to set up model exploration group, and this is to activate the model for a long time, even after finishing the project. The project was divided into a big structure, starting from the providers who are technology providers, governmentals, service providers, quality accreditation bodies, a laboratory to make sure of the quality of the origin of the seeds, then the platform and the electronic documents according to the regulations and the governmental agencies, by creating public-private regulations framework. Then the outcome will reflect to the producers and food processors and logistics providers as well. The web platform was designed and developed to operate a Trace and the Trust hub, focusing on information sharing, creating a fully documentation for traceability and authenticity, support and more trustful process for certificate and the quality control. There were 3 core models. The first model was a whole supply chain seeds from seed to shelf, means from farmer until reach to the end consumer, by identifying food products as each company, each participant, each country focus on a specific type of food, capturing the process needs for different products, evaluating a specific target, and creating or insert it on the platform. The second core module was creating an authentication for all participants from the partners, and create or make sure of quality assurance protocol through pre-evaluation, ISO top analysis with nutrition, details of nutrition profile. The final stage was a developed web-based platform through using IoT modules and the DNA for maker for each product in nutrition, details of a nutrition profile.
Dr. Ghada, you are muted.
Schema for can you hear me?
No, yeah. Better.
Can you hear me? This is a voluntary schema. Voluntary schema, this is the conclusion, or include all steps, all actions, all deliverables in the project. If you see this, it's divided in 2 parts. First part is creating a database part for the participants, then developing the platform using blockchain technology, then recording and document everything, and pilot study, which actually held for the 7 partners participating in the project. The business hub is benefit or approve or offer different services like information sharing through traceability and authenticity, national information center data as a decision work as a decision reference, monitor the traceability and the authenticity indicators through measuring KPIs during the project and after, giving guidelines and technical assistance as we created a virtual assistant based on the data analytics and the database created, promotion, business to business service to encourage the collaboration between different businesses. This is a work overview plans. We have 8 work packages related to the coordination, critical requirements and the assessment analysis, integration of the framework, design of the e-platform, the stakeholders preparation through sessions and the training and the actual participation, pilot, actual test on the real environment, then developed a business model to be a guide for other sectors as a role model or a real model, interactive dissemination and advertisement publication for the project. Briefly كده يعني خليني أقول لحضراتكم in Arabic our project. البروجكت ده كان معمول علشان كان في جاب كبيرة جدا في الربط عند الناس اللي بتشتغل في الاجريكلتشر سيكتور. يعني كان اللي بيحصل ان ممكن يبقى البروديوسر بس او جزء واحد من الناس هو اللي مشارك والباقيين كلهم مش عارفين ايه اللي بيحصل. وبقى كونديشن اساسي جدا في الميديترينيان، او عشان انا مثلا في مصر اقدر اصدر للاتحاد الاوروبي كان لازم يبقى كونديشن اساسي ان يبقى في تريسابيليتي للبرودكت، والتريسابيليتي ده بيستخدم له سنسورز كتيره جدا من اول ما يبقى البرودكت بيتزرع عند الفارمر لحد ما يوصل للكونسيومر، وكمان الفيدباك من الكونسيومر. حاجه تانية ان ما كانش الفارمرز بيبقوا انفولفد او هم مش اوير بايه هي الكرايتيريا اللي مطلوبه عشان يزرعوا بيها البرودكت الاند كونسيومر مهتم انه يعرف عنه. يعني لما يجي يشتري يبقى عايز يعرف مثلا ان البطاطس دي مزروعه في مصر، مين الاونر او مين الاوريجن بتاع البرودكت اللي زي البطاطس ده. فالبلاتفورم اللي اتعمل فعلا ربط الناس البارتيسيبنتس كلهم، السبلاي تشين بارتيز من اول الفارمر لحد الكونسيومر على بعض باي بلاتفورم على الكلاود. الاي بلاتفورم ده كان بفيري سكيورد اوثنتيكيشن يوزنج البلوك تشين تكنولوجي، ان كل واحد عنده يوزر نيم وباسورد كان اكسس ويقدر يعمل ادنج ويدخل البرودكتس بتاعته عليها ويشوف السبلاي تشين كلها. اداله اوبورتيونيتي كمان ان هو يعرف ايه الماركتس اللي هو المفروض يصدر لها، والماركت ده محتاج ايه، ومين الديستريبيوترز او مين السبلايرز اللي هو يتعامل معاهم. يعني بقى على البلاتفورم ده البارتيسيبنتس شايفين كل الماركت ريليتد تو البرودكت اللي هم بيشتغلوا فيه، وبالتالي ده بيساعدهم جدا على ان هم ياخدوا ديسيجن ينتجوا قد ايه. ومش بس كده، ان البرودكت من اول ما بيتزرع لحد ما بيوصل للاند كونسيومر في سنسورز ثرو طبعا الاف ار اي دي والكيو ار كود، كل الحاجات دي طبعا تم استخدامها على البلاتفورم، فيقدر يتريس البرودكت ده وصل لفين وكل الانفو عنه، يعني كل الانفورميشن عن البرودكت كمان. ده ساعد جدا. معلش حضراتكم سامعيني صح؟
يس سامعينك.
هو ساعد جدا الديسيجن ميكرز وساعد كل البارتيسيبنتس ان هم يقدروا ياخدوا قرار صح في ان هم يصدروا لمين، ويقدروا ياخدوا ديسيجنز لكميات الانتاج والتخزين بناء على البلاتفورم. Thank you for your listening and I'm ready for any questions.
شكرا دكتورة غادة على المحاضرة القيمة والمعلومات المهمة. ونفتح الآن كمان جلسة للأسئلة، يعني وقت متاح للأسئلة لو في أسئلة سواء للدكتورة غادة أو للمتحدثين الآخرين.
شكرا لك أستاذ زاهر. أستاذ غادة خلينا نخليك ترتاحي few minutes نسأل أحد أو other speakers then we'll get back to you. تمام؟ شكرا لك كثير. So Mr. Samir, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
Perfect. So we received a couple of questions to you. I would like to ask it to you. So our first question is, how does the synergy between AI and the Internet of Things drive the evolution of smart cities? I remember you mentioned such a thing during the presentation, but I think people would like to hear it again in a quick, brief way.
All right, so that's actually there's hardly a short answer to that. The thing is, AI and in fact, IoT, I would say, is the pivotal point where things start off, because in order to gather any, AI basically works on data, and in order to gather that data, we need sensors in place, and that is where IoT comes in. So we need to deploy these special sensors or edge devices on any kind of information network, basically, which we are looking to collect. For instance, I'll give an example again of a chiller. So for instance, you want to find out, or you want to do some analysis on whether the chillers are performing correctly or not, or they are likely to break down in the future, or how is their performance correctly. So you would need sensors or IoT devices to be mounted on AC units inside the chillers, in fact, which can fetch critical parameters of the ACs, including temperature, pressure, and humidity, and other kind of critical parameters which are important for you to determine. And based on that, the right sensor has to be placed. Once the sensor is in place, the sensor will talk to an underlying infrastructure where this could normally be an IoT platform. The information goes to the IoT platform. There you have several databases. It could be stored in any standard database. And that is when the role of AI starts. So once you have gathered the data, the AI engine will basically take this data, consume this data, and will start learning. So you need to train the AI. This could be done manually, or you can incorporate higher level of AI, kind of deep learning engines, wherein you just feed in the information, and over a period of time, let's say the minimum time that our system, for instance, takes is 6 months. So we require 6 months of data and the models to be trained on this data to be able to come up with any kind of predictions. Yeah, so AI would learn the normal patterns of this particular chiller, whether it is operating fine or not, whether the temperature is currently okay or not okay, and then it will create a baseline, and anything which will be different from this baseline would be marked off as an outlier, and the AI would be able to give you alarms or notifications based on this particular data. So, and similar notion can be applied to any kind of industry, or in fact, within cities, if you look at these are fragmented. So if you want to cover smart parking aspects of it, then you need to sensorize or deploy IoT devices within the cars. Or if you want to look at modernizing your mosques, for instance, which was one of the products, then you need to deploy these sensors, occupancy sensors, in the mosques, and the information will be passed on to the IoT platform, where it will be stored, and the AI will then act on it. So this is what is the essence of AI and IoT in terms of transforming smart cities. I hope I was able to give you a gist.
Yeah, this is a really great answer, actually, because I was going to follow the question with specific cases, but you answered it already. Thank you so much. But another question people were following
Sure.
question was, since we talked about how it could be integrated, what the challenges and considerations must urban planners and, let's say, policymakers, since most of our attendees were, by the way, from governmental bodies, what challenges and considerations must these policymakers address when implementing the AI and the IoT solutions in the smart cities to ensure, let's say, most important thing, that the data privacy and security these days?
Absolutely. So this is in fact one of the major obstacles that we have in the region, because everybody talks about innovation and transforming to the next level of technologies or industry 4.0. But still there is sensitivity around the concept of cloud, especially in the Middle East, and rightly so, because we don't want the data to flow out of the country and land up in wrong hands. And hence, there are several initiatives. For instance, one I can cite is within UAE, there is an organization. So DIVA, for example, the government body has come up with a subsidiary, or they have come up with their own data center, which is locally hosting these things. So the cloud is available within the country. So you don't need to rely on service providers who have their cloud storages outside of UAE. You can very well migrate all the data that you have on the cloud within UAE. That is one step in order to safeguard your interest if you're talking about the government entities. And of course, the other challenges, the other part is challenges. When I would say these days the security aspect. So, for example, specifically talking of OT security, because I have that background, there are standards like IEC 62443 which need to be followed and complied to. I think this is where things start to get tricky, because not all vendors of IoT and AI engines are able to follow these compliances. So it is advisable that you carefully do your due diligence while selecting the product. And of course, as I said earlier, you need to ensure that the cloud provider or the solution provider has the ability to host, provide hosting within that country. So whether it is UAE or Saudi or whatever. So these are the main challenges, I would say.
Thank you so much. We received actually another question.
Sure, please go ahead.
Thank you. Are they? It was in Arabic, just to make sure that the person who asked it know it. Just to translate it now from Mr. Imad Zad. The question says, are there any results from IoT sensors recorded in the database that is analyzed to develop solutions or make decisions and recommendations? Let's say it could be aimed to increase the productivity, avoiding previous issues, let's say using the AI technologies.
I'll give you one example of this, which is one of the projects that we had. So there was a cheese manufacturer, a production plant, which was manufacturing cheese. It's a very popular brand, and they were running into problems of wastage. So they were wasting a lot of raw product, because the agitator, which was kind of ensuring the overall consistency of the liquid, was breaking up. So invariably, in a batch of like say 5 cheese batches, one of the batch would go bad because the agitator would break in the tank itself, and then a lot of energy, time, and money would be required to clean the tank and then redo the process. So this is where we suggested the use of one of our products, which is an AI engine, a no-code AI. So we deployed that, and all the information, we sensorized the tank, of course. So all the information from these 10 sensors, including temperature, humidity, the turbidity, and consistency, everything was flowing was collected basically through the IoT devices, and then it was fed into the AI engine. And finally, the AI engine was able to compare the batches with the golden batch. So the AI was able to figure out what level of consistency is required in order for the batch to be excellent. So that was the baseline for the AI. And over a period of time, it took 6 months. Now the client, or I would say the customer who's producing cheese, is in a position where they are not even breaking the agitator. They've not even broken the agitator once in the last 6 months. So from breaking it every 2 weeks to 0 downtime in the last 6 months. And imagine the kind of wastage that they have avoided, because a lot of milk, which is the major raw product, and other things, the lecithin, was kind of wasted. And now they are very happy. And in fact, they have rolled it across all their 34 factories in different regions. So that is one example I could cite.
Thank you so much. I think just to save the time for other speakers, if you can answer any other questions on the chat, that would be really helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving to Dr. Ghada again. دكتورة غادة، عندنا سؤالين هيك إن شاء الله بسيطات، بنحب نتعلم منك أكثر. بتحكي لك إنه what could be the project's value added for the participant، إنه إيش ال added value أو الإضافة للي حضروا في هذا المشروع اللي حكيتي لنا عنه.
بصراحة هو فعلا الفاليو ادد كانت لهم ان هم كانوا بيواجهوا يعني بيخسروا فلوس كتير نتيجة ان هم مش بيعرفوا يحددوا الماركت كويس اللي الفود عايز يتحرك فيه، او الماركت التارجت ماركت. الحاجة التانية البروجكت ده اشتغل معاهم كديسيجن سبورت تول، عمل اكيورسي عالية جدا، على الترانسبيرنسي والتراست، ودي حاجة ليه كبيرة جدا في السبلاي تشين بتعمل ديسربشن الانتراست، فهو خلى فيه تراست ريليشن شيب، لان الاوثنتسيتي زودت او ركزت على التراست ريليشن شيب بين البارتيز، بقى طلع منها فريم ورك ريجولاتوري فريم ورك، فبقى مش بس ان هم بيثقوا في بعض ثقه يعني فريندلي، لا ده كمان بقى في ريجوليشنز بتحكم العلاقه بين البارتيز كلهم اللي في السبلاي تشين من اول الفارمر لحد الكونسيومر، فدي طبعا بتحمي حقهم. واكتر حاجه كانوا استفادوا بيها فعلا انها من التطبيق العملي، يعني هم ما كانش ديمو، ده البارتيسيبنتس دخلوا برودكتس اكشوالي هم بيشتغلوا بيها، يعني برودكتس هم بينتجوها وبيصدروها لدول الميديترينيان او الاتحاد الاوروبي.
شكرا كثير. يعني حل جدا رائع، وكثير فخورين بأنه عندنا هيك حلول من جهات عربية.
هقول لحضرتك كمان حاجة، هو يمكن احنا لو بس الناس يعني كانت سمعت قبل كده ان IBM هم اول ناس اشتغلوا بالبلوك تشين، حاجة اسمها تراست فود عملوها لوول مارت، كانوا هم الانيشيتيف ان هم يخلوا وول مارت يستورد لحوم واكل من بلاد كان في مشكله كبيره جدا في ان ما فيش ثقه في انه ان الفاينانشال فالي او الفلوس، يعني الترانزاكشن بتاعت الفلوس يبقى عليها جزء من السكيورتي، وان هو كمان يتاكد من الكواليتي بتاعت البرودكت. ففي حاجه اسمها تراست فود بتاعت IBM، يمكن دول اول انيشيتيف في الموضوع. برضو ان يدخل الميديترينيان كومبانيز في حاجه زي using التكنولوجي دي applied، this is يعني a very good idea، وريكومندد ان more sectors يعني تادبت او تتراي البلاتفورم ده. على فكره البلاتفورم لو اي حد من الناس الحضور would like to know more about البلاتفورم empirical، انا I'm here for any help، انا ممكن اعمل معاكم اي ميتنج اوريكم البلاتفورم هو شغال بدامي اوثنتيكيشن، يعني يوزر نيم وباسورد، وندخل ندخل برودكت زي ما كنت بدخل البرودكت بتاعت مصر او البارتنرز بتدخلها، ونشوف ازاي على الماب هو بيعرف يعمل تريسابيليتي بالسنسورز لحد ما بتوصل للكونسيومر از ويل. يعني any wanted data about the project انا feel free يعني to contact me.
Thank you كثير. يعني followed by other question كثير مهم بيخطر بطبيعة الحال على أجوبتك ما شاء الله، إنه شو برضو الإجراء المستقبلي المتوقع للمشروع، يعني وين ممكن يكون بعد؟
هو المشروع متوقع اللي فيه بعد كده ان يبقى فيه مور برودكت تدخل عليه ويتعمل لها تيست، يعني كل بلد اختارت وان برودكت عشان نميك شور ان الديليفربلز دان، ان يبقى فيه مور برودكتس وديفرنت تايبس اوف برودكتس. الحاجه الثانيه ان يدخل مور كونتريز تبقى مور انفولفد في البروجكت، يعني ممكن التايب اوف برودكت يتغير as well as ان يبقى في مور كومبانيز. الستيب الجايه ان البروجكت ده محتاج يتاكتف فيه مور اكتر حته الارتفيشال انتليجنس. يمكن الدكتور بيفور يعني ماي سيشن كان بيتكلم على البارت بتاع الاي او تي والارتفيشال انتليجنس to support as a decision support tool. فالنكست ستيب ان تبقى more integrated using الارتفيشال انتليجنس.
شكرا لك كثير، يعني برزنتيشن وإجابات كافية ووافية، يعطيك العافية. to save time again إنه في لأي سؤال إذا بتحبي تشاركي إيميلك على الشات، ومنسلم الموضوع مرة أخرى لأستاذ زاهر. شكرا لك. تفضل أستاذ زاهر، يعطيكم العافية.
شكرا دكتورة غادة على المحاضرة المهمة وعلى الإجابات الوافية. شكرا أستاذي ملك أيضا على المشاركة في الأسئلة. الآن الأستاذ أنيس موجود محاضرة الآن. الأستاذ أنيس
موجود.
نعم.
موجود.
ثانيا تفضل.
Okay.
نعم دقيقة من فضلك فقط لتقديم عنوان المحاضرة. عنوان المحاضرة سيكون Unveiling Future Focus Construction Innovation عفوا الرؤية غير واضحة. Innovations in Glazing. الأستاذ أنيس الجديدي، تفضل.
Okay, thank you very much. And shall I share my presentation on the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, feel free to share it. You can do it.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. I'll do it. Just give me a second, please. Share screen. Okay. Is everything? Do you see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay. شكرا على الاستضافة. My name is Enis Jdidi. I replace my colleague Apan and a specification manager who couldn't be here today. I work for Saint-Gobain Glass. Saint-Gobain is a manufacturer of one of the world-leading manufacturer of glass and construction products. We are present in the Middle East since about 40 years now, and worldwide since more than 300 years. We'll speak today about the strategy of sustainable construction for the glass business for Saint-Gobain. Okay, a little bit of context, our vision, and then our approach for sustainable construction for the glass and glazing business for buildings. So, of course, and you have already said that at multiple occasions during the presentation this morning, we cannot continue to build as we did in the past. It is not sustainable, either from an impact, environmental impact, operations of the building, and also on the comfort also of the usage of the building. Okay, it's 20th century, a great acceleration in growth of the population. GDP per capita has grown by nearly 5 times over a century. Our greenhouse emissions by a factor of 13 over this century. Growth of total material extraction by a factor 8, and chemical production since the second part of the 20th century by 15. Okay, all of this to show that there was a great acceleration on these impacts since the second part of the 20th century. We need to adapt to climate change, also again draft meteorological events everywhere, and we still see that in the last few weeks over North Africa, for example. We need to adapt to that. We need to adapt our consumption. We need to adapt our impact, and we need to find solution also to this adaptation. Building are part of the problem. Why is that building are part of the problem? Because 40% of solid waste generation are coming from building construction. 33% of all energy used is dedicated to building. It's even more in the Middle East than 33%. 65% of our exposure to outdoor air pollutions occurs indoors, and 20% of all water consumption is dedicated to buildings. Major challenges for the construction market, and this is how Saint-Gobain sees these challenges appear. First, carbon and climate aspect. Okay. Second, resource and circularity, and third, health and well-being. Okay. So we can see these challenges about three pillars. Okay. How our impact on the climate, our impact on the resources, and our impact on the users of the building. Okay. So these are the three challenges, and each of these challenges has to be addressed when we create a strategy for the sustainable construction. This is the pillars of our Saint-Gobain strategy in this aspect. The vision, since now a few years, Saint-Gobain has adapted a vision for its business. Okay, our purpose is making the world a better home. It's our motto in every aspect of our business. Nowadays, we use this as a way to change, a way to impact in a better way our environment, our daily business, also our home, our world. And for that we adapted two sets of objectives. I would say a midterm objective up to 2030 and a long-term objective up to 2050, with a net zero carbon strategy up to the next 25 years, and some detailed objectives for the next decade. An objective on CO2, of course, reduce by 33% in scope 1 and 2, and 16% in scope 3, but not only. About water, less water usage in our industrial impact, zero water discharge in area with extremely high water risks. Circular economy, remember we spoke about our impact, our circularity, of the need of circularity and recycling strategy. Okay, this is also detailed in for every business segment that Saint-Gobain addresses. Okay, so water, CO2, circular economy, and product stewardship, which means that we have a target of 100% life cycle analysis for all of group product range. We speak about thousands and thousands of product range that Saint-Gobain supply in the market today. So our ambition, as I said here, our ambition for the net zero carbon in 2050, this over a few decades, our conviction, we reduce and not compensate. So also this is also a choice that Saint-Gobain have made: reduce and not compensate. No more fossil energy. We have Saint-Gobain over the last 2 years especially have announced major contract with renewable energy suppliers for in Europe, in India, in North America, to reduce its fossil energy usage. More external collect, so this is very important for the glass business, for the circularity of the glass business. We need in our strategy recycling the glass at the end of life of buildings is key to reduce the impact for the glass and glazing industry. It's a key aspect, and so for that we need to use more glass coming from the cullet. Okay, so over the whole supply chain of glass, okay, we have to recycle more and more glass to make sure to reduce our CO2 impact. So decarbonized raw materials, and also in terms of product specification, use a thinner glass because it's directly correlated to the impact of the industry in terms of CO2 consumption and in terms of energy consumption. Again, we spoke a little bit about Saint-Gobain glass here, about the thinner glass and the more colored. This is really specific to the glass industry. Again, we'll dive a little bit more detail about the glass aspect. So energy and carbon, we remember we have 3 pillars: energy, climate impact, and resources impact, and users impact. Okay, so for the first part about the energy and carbon, the challenge is to reduce the carbon emission over the whole building life cycle, not only the the manufacturing of the glass, but also the operation of the building and the end of life of the building. 33% of energy consumption today, this is the challenge, and 37% of greenhouse gas emissions today, this has to be reduced. We spoke, I briefly mentioned operational carbon, a word about that today by the innovation in the products that we supply the market. We offset the carbon emission of the embedded carbon only in 3 months of operation of the building. So compared the situation, when we compare the energy used by a basic single glazed unit compared to a thermally enhanced double glazed unit, okay, the reduction in energy consumption offset the more, let's say, embedded carbon in the thermally enhanced product. In only 3 months, we offset that. Okay, this is just to say that of course you have to put innovation, you have to put more complex products to be able to reduce the energy. These more complex products, sometimes they have an embedded carbon that may sometimes be higher than the more basic solution, but you offset that by the operation aspect, by the operational carbon of the building. A set of just 2 examples here, okay? 2 examples that are really specific to the glass industry, okay? So we have many ranges. We have hundreds of products in our glazing range, but I mentioned here two of our magnetron coated glass that help reduce the operational carbons once installed, whatever the climate zone. The first one is what we call Cool Light Extreme, which is an extremely selective solar control coating with reinforced thermal insulation. Okay, this Extreme family is currently the most efficient series of solar control glasses from Saint-Gobain and in the market. Okay, to help reduce the impact, to help enhance the thermal insulation of the building. Another aspect, this Cool Light Extreme is really adapted, for example, for the Middle East, where we have a heat-dominated weather. So this is really adapted. For an example for cold-dominated areas, for the European market, we have a range of products that also help maintain the energy inside the building. Okay, by enhancing the insulation inside the building, and so lowering the heating energy consumption inside the building. Just to show here that we need to cover the full range, maintaining the heat inside the building for cold dominated area, keeping the heat outside the building for heat dominated area. And this is really a strength of a big group like Saint-Gobain. Another range of products are the dynamic glazing portfolio, where the glazing thermal performance, but also aesthetic changes depending on the light inside outside the building. So this is an advanced solar control solution with Sage Glass. This, for example, in the Middle East, it equips the Mohammed bin Rashid Library in Dubai, and it's another way to enhance the occupant comfort by adapting the performance of the glazing depending on the time of the day. Okay, it can go from clear to lower light transmission, and it can be adapted to the weather also aspect. It can be used in different configuration. This is what we consider one, let's say, tool in the future to make adaptable buildings. Increased use of renewable energy, I briefly mentioned that earlier. I said Saint-Gobain has announced major contract supply with renewable energy supplier all over the world, and in order to reduce its impact by increasing the use of renewable energy. Okay, so supply remaining needed with a renewable and decarbonized source. Of course, this is a work in progress. The whole industry has to adapt, and it will take for sure some times to reach this target. But definitely, we have made wins in the last few years. Our contribution also, Saint-Gobain, as let's say another tool in the facade design, which is BIPV. Okay, also it was also mentioned earlier. So building integrated photovoltaics for facade. Saint-Gobain has invested in startups that produces BIPV, and we have supplied many projects in Europe mainly. We're seeing things changing also in the Middle East on that with a request about that, but also this is another aspect in how we can use the facade, turning it into a source of energy and keeping also the best aesthetics, because that's part of the game. Reduced embedded carbon emissions. So we spoke a little bit about the operation, but the embedded carbon also. The greatest opportunity to reduce embodied carbon is at design stage. Okay, again, the building, the situation today, 2020, is that greenhouse emissions related to buildings are coming mainly from operational carbon today. Okay, only 30% are coming from embodied carbon. The target is to reduce the whole contribution and balancing between embodied and operational carbon by 2050. Also, the glass contribution in the facade. So based on current data, production data, the glass contributes to, depending on whether the facade is a full contour wall, fully glazed, not, between 24% to 60% of facade whole life embodied carbon. So of course, this is really depends on the design of the facade. We have partnered with Arup to make a study over many years. We have published this results a few months back, and it can be accessed freely on the web. But again, this is we spoke about the design, how it can impact the embodied carbon. This is really here. We are definitely showing that the glazing impact is can highly vary. Again, embodied carbon. Saint-Gobain has announced at the beginning of 2023 the world's first low carbon glass called Orae, produced in Europe with the lowest carbon footprint in the market. The strategy is based mainly on higher recycled amount of external cullet, meaning the highest recycled content in glass in the market today, up to 65%, and the target is to reach 80%, plus renewable electricity throughout the process to reduce the embedded carbon, and then substantial R&D effort and industrial effort to adapt the supply chain and the manufacturing of that. This is a major.
Sorry, Mr. Anis, we have only 3 minutes.
Okay.
3 minutes, please.
Okay. So again, Orae is let's say the best proof how a manufacturer can innovate to have a lower impact of a lower embodied carbon in this project. And you see here, recycling is really key in that. Recycling in the beginning of the process, recycling is really key in that. We also embed, we can enhance this array by high thermal insulating products and suggest and make projects with that. We have already supplied project with that, mainly in Europe, mainly in France, but we aim to make this product available worldwide. We are transparent on our CO2 footprint. All of our documentation, all of our software online are transparent about our CO2 footprint and updated on a regular basis. I will not speak about, I wanted to focus on the embodied carbon. I will not speak again. I don't have much time about that, but I already said that, expressed how important recycling is in this strategy. Health and well-being, building have a huge impact on people's health and well-being, and again, by the design of our products, either for water-based mirrors, for example, to reduce the use of chemicals, or inert materials in glass. This also help reduce VOC release and improve indoor air quality. Biodiversity, we have products to reduce the impact of buildings on the bird biodiversity. You may know this is a huge challenge in area where we have bird migration, and this is really important. And we have developed, and everyone in the industry is working on that. This is also to show another way how a manufacturer may innovate to help build products respect biodiversity. Thank you. Thank you for your time. If you have any question, I'm available. If you now or later, please feel free.
Thank you, Mr. Anis, for this helpful session. Is there any question? أوكي. المحاضرة الآن الأستاذة حسناء علي بعنوان حلول في مجال الطاقة باستخدام تكنولوجيا الذكاء الاصطناعي. Solutions for energy field using AI technologies. أستاذة حسناء علي من المدرسة الوطنية العليا للمعلوميات وتحليل النظم في الرباط. تفضل.
السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام.
So I share my screen.
Okay.
It is clear?
Okay.
صورة واضحة لا؟
واضحة تمام. نعم تفضل.
So hello everyone. I'm Hasna Ali. So I'm both a software engineer and a software consultant at Ilianta, and also as a PhD student in specializing in artificial intelligence applied to solar energy.
اليوم ما أعطتني بوس.
So
أنا أعطيك تبغى بلا راشد.
أستاذ حسين.
لا.
أستاذ حسين من فضلك المايك.
So with a deep passion for sustainable energy solution and dedication to pushing the boundaries for innovation, I am excited today to share insight, collaborate, and explore the exciting intersection for solar energy and AI with all of you here today. So let's move on to the agenda. So before we discuss some solution that we can apply to solar energy field, I will start with some background on solar energy, and also some challenges that we have in this field. And we after that we can discuss some specific AI application in solar energy and some case studies and some projects we have realized in this context, and we by some challenges and considerations. So solar energy field. There are some challenges and some obstacles that it's very important to discuss about. So before we dive into the world of application in solar energy, let's first establish a solid understanding of the solar energy field and the challenges it faces. So the energy holds immense promise, but it's also with significant obstacles. For example, weather, variability, location, efficiency improvement challenges, cost reduction and economy viability, maintenance, and also the cyber security attack. So the first thing we are talking about weather variability. So we know that solar panel perform better under high temperature due to increased sunlight exposure. However, high temperature can actually reduce solar panel efficiency. Solar panels typically operate optimally within a temperature range of 15 degrees Celsius to 35. So this decrease due to temperature is quantified in the manufacturer's data sheet and temperature versus power. So if the panel has a temperature, for example, 0.5 percent per Celsius, its output will decrease by half a percent every degree and also on the other hand, if the goal
أستاذي حسناء، أعتذر للمقاطعة. ممكن تحسين وضعية المايك قليلا، يعني لتحسين جودة الصوت لو سمحت يكون المايك أقرب. تفضل.
No, it's clear.
No, yes.
Yeah. So, for example, and cold weather usually not have a negative impact on panel performance unless the panel are covered in snow. And also the important challenges is about location and geographical location. So factors such as location, shading, local weather patterns, and land availability significantly impact the efficiency and effectiveness of solar panels. And also about efficiency and improvement challenges. So solar panel efficiency is a critical factor in maximizing energy production. However, solar panels are not always operating in their peak efficiency due to factors like dust, shading, temperature fluctuation. Addressing these efficiency challenges is crucial to optimize energy production or energy generation. And what about also the cost reduction? We know that solar panel has decreased over the years. Cost of the solar panel has decreased over the years, but also the initial investments in solar energy system can still be significant. So achieving economic viability and making solar energy accessible to a wide range of customers is ongoing also challenges. So AI also can play a role in reducing a cost through predictive maintenance and optimizing system performance. Also maintenance and performance monitoring. So we can say that ensuring the ongoing reliability and efficiency of solar energy system involves overcoming several challenges. Key among these is need for regular maintenance to address an issue like dust accumulation, potential fault in the system. Additionally, efficiency performance monitoring is crucial to identify and rectify any deviation from expected energy production. And the important topic, it's about cybersecurity. So we know that all the inverter that we have used in solar energy, it's connected to the cloud, and so we the cybersecurity is very important to enhance the security of all the system that we used in solar installation system. So I have to move on to specific EI application in solar energy. So I will propose 3 topics in this context. Predictive maintenance in solar panel system, solar panel data analytics using artificial intelligence, optimization of solar panel deployment using ML. So predictive maintenance in solar panel. The predictive maintenance is a type of maintenance strategy that aims to prevent equipment failure by predicting when maintenance is needed before a failure occurs. In the context of solar panel system, predictive maintenance can help to ensure the panel are operating at efficiency and prolong the lifespan. So there are a few different techniques that can be used for predictive maintenance in solar panel. For example, visual inspection, performance monitoring, thermographic inspection. So by using this technique, solar panel maintenance professionals can identify problems with the panels before they become severe, and allowing them to perform repair or replacement before the panels fail. So that will help to improve the overall efficiency of the solar panel system. So we wish to move on to next topic. It's about solar panel data analytics using email. That involves using ML algorithm and other EI techniques to analyze data collected from solar panel system in order to improve their performance and efficiency. So I can explain here some example of how EI can be used for solar panel data analytics. For example, predictive maintenance, that as I mentioned already, and also performance optimizations and fault detection and diagnosis. So by using EI for solar panel data analytics, it is possible to improve the performance and efficiency of solar panels, ultimately helping to reduce costs and increase the overall effectiveness of solar energy as a power source. Also, we have optimization of solar panel deployment using email. So I can here explain some techniques that we can use with machine learning to choose the good reconfiguration or topology to increase or to enhance the power generation of solar panel. We can start with the classification using irradiation profile. So the classification profile, which is a measure of the amount of sunlight received by different solar panels, this is used to classify and determine the optimal configuration of the panel under partial shading conditions. Machine learning model, it will help employed to perform the classification task, and learning via data. The machine learning learn by processing training data, which is relationship the ideal panel configuration and irradiation profile. SMD, it's about solar monitoring devices that is responsible for measuring irradiation panel and communicate it to the server. Prediction reconfiguration, ML algorithm running on the server utilize irradiation data from SMD to predict the optimal topology. And finally, topology reconnection. Once the server determined optimal panel configuration, it sends information back to the SMD, and SMD reconfigure the solar panel topology according to maximizing energy production. So what is the benefit of AI in solar field? Have here mentioned four pounds is very important. It's increase energy production and also improve maintenance and reduce downtime, enhance the grid integration, and also to reduce the cost effectiveness. So here I'm gonna talk about some case studies and also some solutions that I have developed in this context. For example, solution with the Huawei inverters, EMA. It's an energy management assistance. So it's a software solution developed by Huawei that use artificial intelligence to optimize energy consumption and saving for home and business. So this solution it's used to manage a variety of energy sources, including solar panels, batteries, and grid electricity.
عفوا المقاطعة مرة ثانية ممكن بعد إذنك يعني فقط لدينا 3 دقائق.
Okay, so the benefit of using EMA, it's reduce energy costs and increase energy efficiency, improve energy reliability, and reduce environment impact. So I have to move to another case study. It's about a project that I have developed. It's about how we can predict solar power output using cloud cover. I think I don't have more time to explain it more, but it's and also I can send some explanation about this project. And also another project that I have developed in this context is about AI-driven remote. So that AI can significantly enhance the remote command and control of inverter in solar energy system without the need for physical proximity to the local system. So that AI can help to remote monitoring and diagnostics, control and optimization, and also fault detection and response. So we know every solution that we have developed, there is some challenges that we have to affront. Is about, for example, data quality and availability, limited or historical data, model complexity, and also scalability, some non-linear relationship. So this is all the important topics I have discussed in my presentation. So I am open to any question. Thank you.
شكرا جزيلا على المحاضرة، على المعلومات المهمة، وأيضا انتظار لو في أسئلة ممكن توجيهها من المشاركين ضمن Q&A، وبعد الجلسة يعني سيتم الإجابة عن الأسئلة. ننتقل الآن إلى المحاضرة التالية وهي بعنوان تأثير التكنولوجيا على استعادة النظم البيئية الطبيعية والمتنوعة. الأستاذ جورج إبراهيم. إذن المحاضرة بعنوان Technologies Impact on the Restoration of Natural and Biodiverse Ecosystems. أستاذ جورج إبراهيم تفضل.
Thank you so much ساهر. السلام عليكم جميعا، شكرا لدعوتكم لنا. I think you can see my screen صح؟
نعم. لا ليس الآن. أستاذي حسناء ممكن إلغاء المشاركة؟ نعم. تفضل.
Okay, so if you allow me, أول شيء هيك حابب أعرض a short video just to reflect on the idea that we will be discussing today.
People that are being tasked
Please let me know إذا
restoring
بتسمعوا
our natural
الصوت.
world don't have the
واضح الصوت تمام.
necessary to address the industrial scale landscape degradation we see today. Right now, there are more than 2 billion hectares of degraded land around the world. We need to fix this fast. Tree planting activities have spiked over the last few years, all in response to the increased understanding of the consequences of land degradation and the potential to sequester large amounts of carbon in our fight against climate change. But planting trees is not enough. We have to make sure that they grow as expected, the native species are thriving, and that the invasive species are under control. Monitoring with precision is a critical element to restoration projects. Yet in recent research by Yale University and the Nature Conservancy, it was reported that only 18% of planting organizations are currently monitoring their efforts. We have a responsibility to protect and restore our environment, but how can we be expected to succeed when we don't have the critical tools we need? Dendra Systems' vision is to empower humanity to restore the balance of our natural world by creating the tools needed to scale ecosystem restoration. We provide the infrastructure to monitor environmental projects at scale and the platform to drive interventions that are needed. Using a combination of drone technology and ecology-trained AI, we can capture and analyze massive amounts of data and generate new insights to direct restoration work, monitor ecosystem health, and seed large biodiverse ecosystems. We are now capable of bringing consistent governance and transparency for all the environmental projects across each nation and put us on track for the journey towards 2030 goals. Without a massively scalable approach to restoring ecosystems, we cannot address the scope of the damage. Dendra's mission is to scale ecosystem restoration and quantify biodiversity and carbon, all in order to deliver against the goals that the world is trying to achieve through nature-based solutions that restore this beautiful natural world.
Thank you. For that reason, we start with the slide deck that we have prepared. Now, we were seeing with the sessions that we had today and with the various conferences around the world, the huge interest in renewable and clean energy, in construction and material innovations, in AI, IoT, like the session we saw earlier, and IoT implementations for smart cities, the automation, robotics, and the list continues with the huge different type of innovations that are available. So at Dendra, we raised a simple question. We said, what about nature and biodiverse ecosystems? How are we going to be able to fix the problem that we have created? Because we have created the problem by degrading billions of hectares of forests. And how can we fight against desertification, for example? How can we help governments with food security initiatives? So how can we impact it at scale? For that reason, our approach to biodiverse ecosystems is crucial, because when we speak about smart cities, how can we make these smart cities more resilient, more livable, how we can have the proper green spaces, forests around them, how we can have proper green belts around them to reduce any impact of natural disasters and erosion, for example, on the coasts that we're seeing nowadays. So this is where we are contributing and bringing three different pillars together to create like a holistic approach to restoration activities. So we brought the data science, we brought the ecology, and we brought the technology and the operations into one picture. And with the technology and operations here also, I'm talking about ecology-trained artificial intelligence and machine learning models that help us scale our analysis and activities. So our approach, what we say about restoration, it's a data-driven restoration approach. So what problems are we trying to tackle? We try to tackle we're trying to support the mining restorations, mine areas restorations, government initiatives. One of the initiatives, for example, in the UAE is the 100 million mangroves, and Versal Emirat, for example, we have the infrastructure support by building green corridors around it and by supporting the different infrastructure activities. Now, part of what we're seeing also how certain towns, for example, in rural areas, they are being heavily impacted by the desert and by moving sand, how we can see that mines are degrading the lands, how we can see the coastal impact, for example, from the damage that being made by the human. This is where we provide the full solution from full site surveys, from mapping, from analysis, insights, and also we complement it with what we say the aerial seeding or seed spreading by drones that will help us restore lands and ecosystems at scale, whether in coastal ecosystems or whether in arid land and desert ecosystems. And this is what we call it the Restoration OS. So when we speak about scalability, this is very important. So how we can scale our operations, because if you want to keep doing things manually, it will take us years and years and years. And I think we'll be very late into impacting the climate change. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to work and utilize this technology in order to scale our activities and make them more accurate. So we are able to capture high resolution imagery 20 times faster and 10 times more accurate than any other technology. We're able to scale it 75% faster than ground-based methods. And we are able to also ensure the safety of the operation, especially when we have to send people to remote areas or to areas that are not easily accessible by humans. When we speak about restoration, site surveys are also of the essence, and how we can really survey a site 100% and fully if you don't have the tools and methods of doing so. So how we can really ensure that 100% of the sites are really captured. And this is where we have the full site data capturing capabilities with high resolution RGB and multispectral data. With RGB, we're talking about almost, we can see the blade of grass on the ground. So this is like how high the resolution is that we are utilizing. The capability of really capturing high scale hectares. So it's around 800 hectares per day per team, limiting the ground operations and also at the same time, limiting the human impact on the ground when they go and like disturb the soil or disturb the existing natural ecosystem when they do the field and manual surveys as well. So from platform point of view, this is where we provide the maps and insights for different organizations to visualize the high resolution baseline data and to select the data layers that they need to work on, provide them with the insights, the counts, the species, the native versus the invasive species. And this is one very important factor. We are seeing around the world how foreign species are being introduced to certain areas, sometimes accidentally, sometimes purposely, but this has a degrading impact on the natural ecosystem as a whole. And this is where also we provide the AI and machine learning models that can help us detect the native versus the alien species and provide us also guidance on how we can eliminate them from that specific area. Also part of the support that we provide in terms of how we can manage, for example, this ecosystem, what sort of work orders we need to ensure that is being automated and provided to the different agencies. So here we tackle the erosion, the weeds, the native versus alien species, the animals, animal tracks, and wildlife monitoring, the vegetation height, the elevation models, and the human-made impact. So one of the key things that we're seeing, for example, when you go also across the shoreline or deep in the desert, you see a lot of erosion that is being happen there. One of the key things that the mangroves, for example, are supporting, and this is something you're hearing of quite often recently, especially in the UAE, that it supports in protecting the shoreline from erosion as well, as long as the carbon sequestration capabilities that it has, almost 4 times more than terrestrial planting. So we have the erosion management and the risk analysis and how we can protect the land and the nature from that. We have the invasive species, past legacy, and this is how we can detect, for example, the different type of species available and reflect the raster data into vector data with an automated process that help us classify these different areas, classify these different features, and take the required actions to resolve them, where we can focus our effort more and more rather than being distributed without real focus. This is also how we can provide the biodiversity and the natives with biodiversity assessment. And this is one thing that is very important. It's not a monotone kind of restoration that should happen across or around smart cities. It should be more of a biodiverse ecosystem that will allow the native species to come back to life, the native animals as well, and native, like for example, oryxes, the Arabian oryxes, for example, Arabian leopards, and so on, how we can really prepare a habitat that is suitable for them to be restored. So then we have also the native species, tree stem density, etc., with the fauna and the habitat. And one thing that is very important, how we can really monitor and track the wildlife around these cities, how we can preserve them and protect them. So we know that conventional methods are very time consuming and labor intensive and expensive, and also poses risk to these environments. This is where we use the ultra high resolution data for that in order not to really impact these areas, to be able to visualize the different activities, to model these activities and obtain the insights from them, to check the wildlife diversity and the population, the track analysis, the movement analysis, and the human impact as well. And as you can see in some of these pictures, we can see tracks, we can see litter, we can see human-made impact, we can see the animals, we can see carcasses. So this overall gives us like a holistic overview about what we're trying to address. With the various dashboards-based reporting, so I'm not going to spend much time on that. We have all the capabilities that provide the government institutions and private institutions with the capability to monitor and track all the restoration activities that they are doing and all the effort that they are doing over time. So it's a geographic, geospatial, and temporal kind of analysis to be able to see the trend. Are we on the right track or not, and how we can achieve it better? So one of the key things, for example, about one project that was implemented in the UAE, where we did an extensive R&D activities on arid land restoration and desert restoration, and it successfully demonstrated alternative approach that doesn't require frequent irrigation. So when we speak about natural ecosystems, those are, and if we want to scale them up heavily and on a bigger scale, we have to consider how we can eliminate, or so to speak, not required to have irrigation in place or irrigation systems and network in place. And this is where we have what we have implemented also in Abu Dhabi as well. So we have revived and restored an arid ecosystem without the need for irrigation, using the different various techniques and mitigation activities. As well as when we speak about technology, this is where we utilize remote sensing. On top of that, where we go and check up to 10 years of evolution analysis with high resolution satellite data. We do the area classification, trend analysis, and this is not necessary to be in rural areas or in areas that are inland, but also around the cities as well. So this is how we can really ensure that the surrounding ecosystems are supporting for these smart cities. They provide the proper quality air conditions and the proper carbon sequestration as well. So we have the area classification, the trend analysis, the ecosystem modifications over time. This is how we can visualize, analyze, and study its impact and take the required actions accordingly. And at the end, this is where we go into aerial seeding. So we spoke about how we can create a baseline and understand what's currently, what was the case, how was the case a few years back, 10 years back, 15 years back till now, what was the impact of all the work that we have done in this area. Once this is done, then we start thinking about what are the most suitable areas and sustainable areas for restoration activities. Once that's done, then we go into the aerial seeding, and this is where we can really cover huge and large areas in aerial seeding using the proper seasonal timeframes. So we can provide up to 700 kilograms per day per drone in terms of aerial seeding and seeds. And this is like a huge capacity that we can provide with 60 hectares per day. So imagine the scale that we can operate with, prevent the ground impact and damage. So no need now for people to go step in the field, go and plant manually and plant them in a less natural, let's say, aspect. And also seed the flight path traceability. And this is where we can trace what we have spread, where the seeds have dropped. And so it can help us with the monitoring effort that we do onward, how we can monitor this effort, where we are, what we need to do better, how we can enhance it further. Are there any other impacts that we need to mitigate or not? And this is where also we do the seed spreading with multi-type of species, not only specific one species only, to reflect and let's say mimic the same natural restoration habits that the nature provides. So some of the key benefits: the improvement of safety, the increasing of efficiency, minimizing the seeding costs, reducing the risks, and improve the seed supply. I wanted to go quickly through these slides as well, so I can allow for some Q&A. And as our co-founder and CEO say, let's get to work. And as long as we have the will, we can all make it work, and we can all contribute to the better health of our Earth and our planet that we are all living in. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. George, for this helpful session. ننتقل الآن إلى المحاضرة الأخيرة لهذا اليوم وختام المؤتمر في اليوم السادس. المحاضرة الأخيرة هي بعنوان تسخير الطاقة الشمسية في خدمة الزراعة لتحقيق التنمية المستدامة. Harnessing solar energy in the service of agriculture to achieve sustainable development. الأستاذ بدوي الخير، تفضل.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام، تفضل.
ظهرت الشاشة؟
لا، الشاشة غير ظاهرة الآن. نعم ظاهرة. إذا ممكن استخدام عرض الشاشة الثاني يكون أفضل. نعم.
تمام. طب الموضوع اللي احنا نتحدث فيه اللي هو استغلال الطاقة الشمسية في خدمة الزراعة لتحقيق التنمية المستدامة. طبعا العرض يستهدف أهمية استخدام الطاقة الشمسية في خدمة الزراعة وكيفية يمكن أن يسهم في تحقيق التنمية المستدامة. بالبداية نود أن نشرح أن الزراعة تعد الزراعة من أهمية القطاع الاقتصادي، من أهم قطاعات الاقتصاد في العالم. هي مصدر رئيسي للغذاء والدخل. تواجه تحديات كبيرة في نقص المياه وتغير المناخ وزيادة الطلب على الموارد الطبيعية، وكذلك استخدام الطاقة الشمسية في الزراعة يعد حلا مبتكرا لتلك التحديات التي يمكن توفير الكهرباء والطاقة اللازمة لزيادة الإنتاج وتحسين الكفاءة. هدف العرض إلى دراسة تأثير استخدام الطاقة الشمسية في الزراعة على الإنتاج والاستدامة.
أستاذ بدوي، أعتذر المقاطعة، يبدو حضرتك مشارك شاشة أخرى، يعني العرض البرزنتيشن غير ظاهر، يعني ثابت على الصفحة واحدة.
ثابت على صفحة واحدة.
نعم.
الآن بدأ يتحرك. تمام.
نعم
تمام؟
تمام تفضل.
أهمية الطاقة الشمسية في الزراعة. من أهمية الطاقة الشمسية في الزراعة ممكن أن هي لها أهميات كثيرة، ممكن أختصرها في 8 نقاط. النقطة الأولى توفير الطاقة الكهربائية. ممكن أن نمكن أنظمة الطاقة الشمسية من توليد الكهرباء بشكل نظيف ومستدام، ويمكن استخدام هذه الطاقة لتشغيل أنظمة الري والمعدات الزراعية، مما يقلل من استهلاك الوقود الأحفوري وتكلفة الطاقة. 2. تحسين الإنتاجية. توفير الكهرباء بواسطة الطاقة الشمسية يمكن أن يزيد من إنتاجية المزارع وجودة المحاصيل. 3. توفير المياه. يمكن استخدام الطاقة الشمسية لتشغيل أنظمة الري الذكية التي تقلل من تبذير المياه وتزيد من كفاءة استخدامها في الزراعة. أيضاً تقليل الانبعاثات الكربونية، وهي مهمة في الوقت الحاضر. والطاقة الشمسية نظيفة وليست لها انبعاثات كربونية مثل طاقة الوقود الأحفوري أو طاقة الوقود الذي يستخدمونها في الجنريتور لتشغيل مضخات المياه، وذلك لها أثر البيئة لذلك يسهم في تقليل التغير المناخي. النقطة الخامسة تعزيز الاستدامة، وهي استخدام الطاقة الشمسية يزيد من فعالية الزراعة ويقلل من اعتمادها على مصادر محدودة مثل الوقود الأحفوري والكهرباء من شركة الكهرباء المحلية التي تكون في داخل البلد. النقطة الخامسة توفير فرص عمل. من خلال الطاقة الشمسية ممكن نزيد فرص العمل المزارعين، لأن توقف المضخات وتوقف المياه في ضخ المزارع يقلل من فرص العمل المزارعين. فنحن في وجود الطاقة الشمسية وفي وجود الضخ البايب الذي يمد المزارعين ويمد أراضيهم بالمياه يعمل على توفير فرص عمل جديدة وخلق فرص عمل جديدة في الزراعة وقطاع الطاقة. النقطة السادسة أو النقطة السابعة تعزيز الوصول إلى الكهرباء في المناطق النائية، وهذه تعتبر من النقاط المهمة. والنقطة الثامنة تنمية مستدامة. باعتبار الزراعة مكون أساسي للتنمية المستدامة وهي من الأساسيات في التنمية المستدامة، ممكن أن تلعب الطاقة الشمسية دورا مهما في تحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة مثل القضاء على الجوع وتحقيق الأمن الغذائي، وهم من أهداف التنمية المستدامة. نتحدث في النقطة هاي على أهمية الزراعة المستدامة. 1. حفظ الموارد الطبيعية. الزراعة المستدامة تهدف إلى استخدام الموارد الطبيعية بشكل مستدام، مما يساهم في الحفاظ على التربية والمياه والهواء النقي ونقلل من عملية تلوث الهواء. 2. تحسين جودة المياه. من خلال استخدام ممارسات زراعية مستدامة يمكن تقليل التلوث البيئي والحفاظ على التنوع البيولوجي والنظام البيئي. 3. زيادة الإنتاجية على المدى الطويل. الاستثمار في تحسين التربية والممارسات الزراعية يزيد من الإنتاجية على المدى الطويل مما يحقق الأمن الغذائي داخل المنطقة. 4. المرونة أمام التغير المناخي. الزراعة المستدامة تعزز المرونة مواجهة تغير المناخ من خلال تبني ممارسات توفير المياه وتقليل انبعاثات الغاز الدفئية. هنا تأثيرات الزراعة المستدامة. هناك تأثيرات على البيئة وعلى الاقتصاد. 3 نقاط سنذكرها على البيئة. 1. المحافظة على التنوع البيولوجي. تقليل استخدام المبيدات الكيميائية والمحافظة على النظام البيئي تساهم في الحفاظ على التنوع البيولوجي. 2. تقليل التلوث. استخدام ممارسات زراعية صديقة للبيئة يمكن أن يقلل من تلوث المياه والتربة والهواء. 3. الحفاظ على التربة والمياه. تحسين إدارة المياه ومكافحة التصحر تساهم في الحفاظ على الثروات الزراعية. أما من خلال تأثيرها على الاقتصاد 3 نقاط نختصرها. زيادة الإنتاجية من خلال الزراعة المستدامة تزيد من الإنتاجية وتحسين جودة المحاصيل والمنتجات الزراعية. 2. خلق فرص عمل. توفير المزيد من فرص العمل في القطاعات الزراعية وصناعات مرتبطة به. 3. زيادة الإيرادات. تحسين الجودة والكفاءة في الإنتاج يمكن أن يزيد من الإيرادات ويحسن دخل المزارعين. هناك عدة تحديات على الزراعية. التحديات الزراعية التي تؤثر: الممارسات غير المستدامة، مثل استخدام المبيدات الزراعية بشكل غير مستدام وإزالة الغابات والتربة غير المستدامة تؤثر سلباً على البيئة. الحفاظ على التربة. والنقطة الثالثة فقدان التنوع البيولوجي. والنقطة الرابعة نقص المياه، وهي أهم نقطة نتحدث بها، وهي تعتبر ندرة المياه ونقص استخدامها بين المزارعين والاستخدامات الأخرى من أكبر التحديات. هي نقص المياه يمكن أن يقلل من إنتاجية المحاصيل ويؤثر على تراجع الإنتاج، وهذا هو الذي حدث عندنا في فلسطين. يعني كان إنه المزارعين يعانوا من نقص المياه نتيجة انقطاع التيار الكهربائي لما يعادل 12 ساعة في اليوم، فكان المحاصيل تتراجع في إنتاجها بشكل كبير، وأيضا المزارعين توقفوا عن الزراعة وتوقفوا عن الإنتاج، وهذا كله بسبب انقطاع التيار الكهربائي. توجهنا نحن في مؤسسات القطاع إلى التوجه إلى الخلايا الشمسية، ويعني تمويل عدة مشاريع في الخلايا الشمسية. من ضمنها كان مشاريع بالتعاون مع GIZ ومشاريع بالتعاون مع UNDP، وهي تمويل المزارعين أو المزارع الصغيرة بأجهزة الطاقة الشمسية التي تعمل على تشغيل المضخات التي تكون من 5 هورس باور إلى 3 هورس باور، وتعمل على تمديد المزرعة بمساحة 5 دنمات، يعني 5000 متر مربع. الفوائد المحتملة للاستخدام الشمسي في الزراعة: هناك عدة فوائد، منها توفير مصدر مستدام للكهرباء. 2 مضاعفة كفاءة استخدام المياه، وذلك من خلال استخدام الطاقة الشمسية لتشغيل أنظمة الري التي تستخدم المياه بشكل فعال، مما يقلل من تبذير المياه ويزيد من كفاءة استخدامها. تخفيض انبعاثات الكربون، وهذا هدف أسمى وهدف في المستقبل يجب أن الإنسان يفكر فيه من ناحية المستقبل. انبعاثات الكربون، الاعتماد على الطاقة الشمسية يساهم في تقليل انبعاثات غازات الاحتباس الحراري، وبالتالي يقلل من التغير المناخي المضرة بالزراعة. والتعزيز، النقطة الرابعة، تعزيز الاستدامة والزراعة العضوية. الزراعة بممارسة مستدامة تضمن استخدام الطاقة الشمسية كمصدر نظيف للكهرباء وتجفيف المحاصيل بشكل طبيعي، مما يعزز من استدامة الزراعة وجودة المنتجات. النقطة الخامسة، زيادة الإنتاجية. الطاقة الشمسية يمكن أن تساهم في تحسين إنتاجية المزارع أو المزرعة من خلال تشغيل أنظمة الري بكفاءة وتوفير الطاقة للمعدات الزراعية. النقطة السادسة اللي هي الوصول إلى المناطق النائية. تقنيات استغلال الطاقة الشمسية في الزراعة. 1. أنظمة الري بالطاقة الشمسية. تستخدم أنظمة الري بالطاقة الشمسية ألواح توليد الكهرباء من الشمس، وهذا تقوم الأنظمة تشغيل مضخات المياه التي تقوم بضخ المياه من مصادر المياه، إما البئر، المياه الحفرة طبعا، أو إن كان هو على أنهار أو حقول إلى الحقل تاعه إلى المزرعة. تتيح هذه التقنية استخدام المياه بكفاءة أكبر وتحقيق وتوزيع متساوي للمياه على المحاصيل. 2. تشغيل معدات بالطاقة الشمسية. يمكن استخدام الطاقة الشمسية لتشغيل معدات زراعية مثل الأجهزة للحراثة والحصاد والتلويح والضخ. تقليل هذه الأنظمة من تكاليف الوقود والصيانة وتقليل التلوث البيئي. 3. تزيد من إنتاجية المزرعة وتحسين الجودة والكفاءة في العمليات الزراعية. النقطة الثالثة، أنظمة الإضاءة الزراعية بالطاقة الشمسية. هذه يمكن بتكون شوية مشكلة فيها، كان إنه هي بتغلي من السعر، لأنه أنت إذا بدك تعمل أنظمة إضاءة للطاقة في الطاقة الشمسية بدك توفر البطاريات، والبطاريات هي اللي كانت المعضلة الرئيسية في غلاء المنتج. يعني إحنا لما اشتغلنا مع المزارعين اشتغلنا إنه نوفر لهم اللي هو الطاقة الشمسية، وكان جهاز من نوع سبايا، كان باختصار إنه طول ما في شمس كان المضخات تاعته شغالة وأجهزته شغالة، لأنه هي فلسطين، يعني فلسطين تقع في منطقة تستفيد ما يقارب 3000 ساعة في السنة، 3000 ساعة شمسية تظهر في السنة، يعني معدل 8 ساعات ونص. خلينا نرجع للنقطة الرابعة، أنظمة الجفاف والتجفيف بالطاقة الشمسية. تستخدم لتجفيف المحاصيل بشكل طبيعي باستخدام الطاقة الشمسية، وتساعد على الحفاظ على جودة المحاصيل وتقليل الفاقد من المزروعات. 5. أنظمة تخزين طاقة بالطاقة الشمسية، تستخدم البطارية تخزين الطاقة الشمسية، هذه حكينا عليها فيما سبق. هناك عدة مشاريع ناجحة تستخدم الطاقة الشمسية في الزراعة حول العالم. حنكتب الأربعة. كان في من ضمن المشاريع مشروع في الأردن، ومشروع في أفريقيا، ومشروع في تايلاند، ومشروع في الهند. هذول المشاريع هم اللي ركزوا على إيش؟ على المشاريع على الزراعة. في مشاريع أخرى ركزت على الصناعة، في مشاريع أخرى ركزت على عدة مجالات. في مشروع كان في قطاع غزة في فلسطين ركز على تكرار المياه وتحويل المياه العادمة إلى مياه صالحة، لكن المشاريع هذه هي اللي ركزت على الزراعة. هنا النقطة هذه كيفية تحقيق التنمية المستدامة من خلال استخدام الطاقة الشمسية في الزراعة. هناك 8 نقاط. زيادة الإنتاجية الزراعية من خلال توفير الكهرباء من الطاقة الشمسية يسمح بتشغيل مضخات المياه وأنظمة الري بكفاءة أكثر، وهذا يزيد من إمكانية زيادة المساحات المزروعة وزيادة الإنتاج الزراعي، مما يساهم في تحقيق الأمان الغذائي وزيادة الإنتاجية. 2. تقليل التلوث البيئي. استخدام الطاقة الشمسية لتشغيل معدات زراعية يقلل الاعتماد على الوقود الأحفوري، وبالتالي يقلل من انبعاثات الكربون والتلوث الهوائي والتلوث البيئي. 3. زيادة كفاءة استخدام المياه. الطاقة الشمسية يمكن أن تستخدم في تشغيل أنظمة الري بدقة عالية وبتوقيت مثالي، مما يقلل من تبذير المياه وزيادة كفاءتها في الري. في هذه النقطة يعني ممكن نضطر إلها إنه في الأنظمة الشمسية في أنظمة الري الحديثة اللي هي السمارت، اللي هي بتعتمد على المياه في التربة أو على توزيع المياه أو على بذور الشمس أو غروبها. هذه بتحتاج لطاقة أو بتحتاج لكهرباء، فإذا ما توفر الكهرباء حيضطر المزارعين يعتمدوا مثلا على اللي هو الري بالطريقة العشوائية أو الطريقة المعتادة، إنه من خلال اللي هو اسطول أو خلال الجراد ينقل الماء، وهذا بيعملش على تقليل وهذا يعمل على تبذير في المياه. التمويل المستدام من خلال مشاريع الطاقة الشمسية يمكن المزارعين من تقليل تكاليف الإنتاج زيادة الإيرادات، مما يسهم في تحقيق استدامة الأعمال الزراعية. النقطة اللي بعدها التنوع الزراعي. استخدام الطاقة الشمسية يمكن أن يشجع على تطوير مزارع متعدد الاستخدام وزراعة مجموعة متنوعة من المحاصيل، مما يعزز التنوع الزراعي. توفير الطاقة للمجتمعات الريفية، وهذه النقطة يعني ما نتطرق لها كثير. توفير فرص العمل. توفير فرص العمل هذه من النقطات اللي احنا عاصرناها. يعني كان المزارع يكون في مثلا مزرعة فيها مثلا 10 مزارعين، في حال انه اصلا الماء هي اساس كل شيء في الزراعة، ما كان في ماء كان المزارعين يقعدوا عن العمل. يعني انت بتحكي متوسط كان الاهل 10 مزارعين، في كل مزارع متوسط 5 أفراد، يعني انت بتحكي في 50 فرد مستفيد من هذا المشروع. وتحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة الاستفادة من الطاقة الشمسية في الزراعة تسهم في تحقيق عدة أهداف التنمية المستدامة، مثل القضاء على الجوع وتحسين صحة الناس وزيادة الإنتاج الاقتصادي. هذول الأهداف من أهداف التنمية المستدامة مرتبطة في الاستفادة من الطاقة الشمسية في الزراعة. تمام؟ هنا حنتحدث في النقطة هذه على التحديات والعوائق التي يمكن أن تعيق تنفيذ هذه التقنية. هناك عدة عوائق وتحديات واجهناها أثناء تنفيذ هذه المشاريع. كانت من ضمنها بالنسبة للمزارع التكلفة البادرة. هذه المشاريع الطاقة الشمسية إلى استثمار كبير في شراء وتركيب ألواح شمسية وأنظمة تخزين والتحكم في هذا يمكن أن يكون عائقاً للمزارعين والمجتمعات الريفية الفقيرة. يعني المزارع هو ما بيقدر يجيب اللي هو يوميته يا دوب يحصلها ويحصل من المزروعات، فإنك تيجي تقنعه وتتحدث معه إنه بدك تركب منظومة طاقة شمسية عشان مزرعتك بحدود $10,000 والشغلات هاي، كانت هذه مشكلة كبيرة تقع على المزارع، تقع على الإقناع. النقطة الثانية المعرفة والتدريب. لتنفيذ صيانة أنظمة الطاقة الشمسية يحتاج العاملون في الزراعة إلى التدريب والمعرفة الفنية. يعني من خلال هذه النقطة قبل البدء في تنفيذ هذه المشروع لازم المزارعين يحصلوا على ورش عمل، ونعلمهم كيف إنه يتعاملوا مع الأنظمة هذه ولو بالشكل السطحي عشان ما يشوفوها. التقنيات القديمة كان في من ضمن المشاكل اللي إحنا وقعنا فيها إنه في بعض المناطق المزارعين بيعتمدوا على تقنيات زراعية قديمة. يعني مثلا لما تيجي بدك تتعامل معه بتلاقي المضخة الأرضية تاعته هي 3 فيز، والمنظومة اللي احنا بنركبها مثلا 1 فيز، فتضطر انك بدك تعدل في المنظومة هذه وتجيب له أجهزة انفرتر تحول من 3 فيز ل 1 فيز عشان تشتغل المضخات هذه. هذه كانت تحديات احنا واجهناها. وضعف البنية التحتية. لما تيجي بدك تقول في عندك شبكة مياه حديثة، شبكة ري حديثة، ما في عنده أصلا حفر لتجميع المياه كانت في بعض المناطق. النقطة الخامسة التغير المناخي والظروف الجوية. التغير المناخي كانت مثلا في ساعات الصيف كان المزارعين والأنظمة تشتغل بشكل ممتاز، لكن في ساعات الشتاء كانت بتيجي أيام في الشتاء بتكون مغيمة، فالتكلفة فالكفاءة تاعت الخلايا والمنظومة بتنزل ما يقارب 70% 60%. طبعا التحديات كانت التمويل والدعم الحكومي، انه هذه المشاريع لازم تكون ممولة من جهات حكومية وجهات مانحة، وكان في صعوبة كثير في الحصول على التمويل في هذه المشاريع. القوانين والتنظيمات في بعض الدول تفرض اللي هو قيود، مثلا بدك تستورد خلايا، بدك تستورد أجهزة، بحكي لك في ضرائب عالية، في تعقيدات، بيعمل لك شغلات خاصة. احنا في فلسطين حركة المعابر صعبة عندنا. النقطة الثامنة الصيانة والاستبدال. في عدة شغلات ممكن تستهلك، مثل الأسلاك، مثل السيبة، مثل الصدى تاع السيبة. هذه الشغلات اللي كانت ممكن مع المدى البعيد تظهر. والنقطة التاسعة تقنيات جديدة. بعض المزارعين قد يشعرون بالقلق بشأن تبني التكنولوجيا الجديدة المختلفة عن التقنيات التقليدية اللي اعتادوا عليها. حكينا عنها في السابق، إنه في مزارعين بتلاقيه تربى هو وآبائه على على مدى عمره، إنه هو بيعتمد على رأي هو التقليدي. تيجي تحكي له إنه مثلا بدنا نحول المزرعة تاعتك لمزرعة حديثة، وإنه في مضخة، وإنه في طاقة شمسية، في أجهزة بتضخ، وفي أنظمة ري حديثة، فكان صعب الإقناع في هذه الجزئية. هناك عدة توصيات لتعزيز استخدام الطاقة الشمسية في الزراعة، من ضمنها توفير التمويل. يجب توفير خيار تمويل ميسرة للمزارعين والمشاريع الزراعية للاستثمار في تقنية الطاقة الشمسية. 2 توعية وتدريب. حكينا فيها، لازم أصلا توعي المزارعين، تدربهم وتعملهم ورش عمل على فوائد الطاقة الشمسية على أساس تغير الفكر عندهم. الدعم الحكومي، انه الحكومه يجب تكون متبنيه بالاساس هذه المشاريع عشان تدعم المزارعين وتخفف من الضرائب، وتخفف من الشغلات اللي هي بتاخذها بشكل عام على المنتجات، لكن على المنتجات اللي بتشارك بالانتاجات هذه حقيقة توقفها او توقف الضريبه عنها. الشراكات المشتركه، يمكن تشجيع التعاون بين القطاع العام والقطاع الخاص والمجتمعات المحليه لاستخدام الطاقه الشمسيه. في هذه النقطه ممكن انه الشركات البائعة أو المسوقة للطاقة الشمسية هي نفسها اللي تعمل شراكة مع المزارعين. تيجي لنا المزارعين، مزارع عنده مطلع مثلا 20 دنم، تجي تتحدث معه وتعمل اتفاقية إنه إحنا من مولك في الأنظمة والطاقة، بالإجراء إنه ممكن تسده على مدى 10 سنين، أو ممكن يكون في شراكة بجزء من المحصولات، أو ممكن نشغل أجهزة أيدي عاملة. هذه بتتم بالشراكات. تبسيط الإجراءات، يمكن تبسيط الإجراءات الإدارية والتنظيمية تسهيل تنفيذ عملية مشاريع الطاقة الشمسية. البحث والتطوير. يجب استثمار البحث والتطوير لتطوير تقنيات الطاقة الشمسية المتقدمة والاقتصادية. 7 تشجيع التبني السريع. يمكن تشجيع المزارعين على تجربة تقنيات الطاقة الشمسية بشكل أولي لتأكد الفوائد. هذه النقطة اللي ممكن أنت تجيب مزارعين اللي مو مقتنعين في المنظومة أو الفكرة ككل، وتأخذهم على مزارع حديثة وتعرض لهم الفوائد، وقديش بوفر في المال، وقديش بوفر في المياه، وقديش بوفر في الشغلات هذه كلها، وأنت بالآخر بتعمل على إقناعهم. المشاركة المجتمعية، تشجيع المجتمع المحلي على المشاركة في تخطيط وتنفيذ مشاريع الطاقة الشمسية في الزراعة. النقطة التاسعة رصد وتقييم. في أي مشروع يجب يكون في رصد تقييم وتقديم آليات رصد وتقييم أثر استخدام الطاقة الشمسية على الزراعة والمحاصيل. والنقطة العاشرة والأخيرة، تبني الأفكار الإبداعية بدعم. يجب دعم الأفكار الإبداعية والمشاريع الصغيرة التي تستخدم الطاقة الشمسية الزراعة. في آخر سلايد، يعني هي من أهداف التنمية المستدامة، والهدف السابع اللي هو كان هدف طاقة نظيفة بأسعار معقولة. في الهدف هذا مرتبط في كتير أهداف سابقة وبعده. يعني إحنا لو بدنا نيجي نتحدث إنه هي الطاقة أساس كل شيء، مثل ما بيحكوا المياه حياة، فالطاقة أساس كل شيء في العيشة. يعني إحنا بدنا نعيش كمزارعين، كسكان، كإضاءة، هذا صارت أساسية بشكل لا يستغني عنها أي إنسان. وهذا والله أعلى وأعلم. الله يعطيكم ألف عافية.
شكرا جزيلا أستاذ بدوي على المحاضرة المهمة والقيمة، واستفدنا جدا من المعلومات الموجودة فيها، ونتمنى يعني أن تنتشر هذه المزارع الحديثة وهذه الأساليب الحديثة في الري في بلداننا العربية، لما للمياه من أثر كبير في التنمية المستدامة. الآن يعني نفتح المجال مجددا للأسئلة، لو كان في أسئلة موجهة للضيوف سواء باللغة العربية أو الإنجليزية.
أنا عندي
تفضلي
سؤال
تفضلي دكتورة. تفضلي.
أنا عندي سؤال لأستاذ بدوي. أستاذ بدوي، حضرتك فعلا اتكلمت عن الطاقة الشمسية في الجزء بتاع الزراعة، وده من التشالنجز اللي أنا واجهتها كتير جدا في المشروع، لأن كان من المين إن يبقى البروجكت بيكوب مع السستينبل ديفلوبمنت جولز بتاعت اليو ان، وإنه يبقى الزراعة by green methods of green ways. فممكن حضرتك تقول لي يعني إحنا still facing this challenges، ايه اللي يخلينا نخلي الفارمر يعني كوب مع التشالنجز دي او نقلل الباريرز دي؟ ايه الاقتراحات بتاعت حضرتك اللي تسهل الموضوع؟ ان احنا نشجعهم يعتمدوا على يعني السولار بانلز او الرينيوبل انرجي.
تمام دكتورة غادة. هي النقطة اللي دائما اي مزارع بيصل لنقطة الاحتياج، السبب اللي وصل له. انتم على درايه انه احنا مثلا انا سكان فلسطين في قطاع غزه.
انا سامع حضرتك.
تفضل استاذ بدوي. يبدو الصوت في مشكله.
هو الصوت حصل فيه مشكله تقريبا.
استاذ بدوي نحن لا نسمعك.
الصوت مش واضح حضرتك. طيب في سؤال تاني.
طيب لو في سؤال
تاني للدكتورة حسناء.
تفضل.
هي كانت بتتكلم على الجزء بتاع برضو السولار بانلز وكده. برضو في حاجة أنا كنت لاحظتها في كذا مشروع أنا يعني شاركت فيه أو شفت الامبلمنتيشن بتاعه. في مشكلة كبيرة جدا بتحصل أثناء عملية الامبلمنتيشن والترانسبورتيشن بتاعت السولار بانلز. مش عارفة
أستاذ حسناء موجودة معنا؟
مش عارفة.
أستاذ حسناء موجودة؟
بتهيألي مش موجودة صح؟
أعتقد أعتقد غير موجودة.
يمكن برضو أستاذ بدوي ممكن يجاوب على البارت ده، بس هو برضو disconnected now. أعتقد إنه بيحاول يريكونكت تاني.
نعم. ممكن ننتظر ناخذ سؤال آخر ريثما يكون أستاذ بدوي والأستاذة حسناء متاحين. في سؤال من تامر بركات. أستاذ تامر، السؤال لمين موجه؟ لدي سؤال: كيف يمكن تخفيض الانبعاث الكربوني أو البصمة الكربونية في عملية الزراعة، خاصة أن العملية الزراعية والأسمدة تطرح الكثير من الغازات الدفيئة؟ أعتقد السؤال موجه للأستاذ بدوي. الأستاذ بدوي للأسف يعني انقطع الاتصال معه. لو بإمكانك تضع السؤال في قسم Q&A ربما يعني
هو مبدئيا برضو
ممكن حضرتك نعم
ممكن أساعده في الإجابة على تقليل الانبعاثات. هو بقى
نعم.
فعلا في دلوقتي ديفايسز بتحصل يعني أثناء الزراعة بيبقوا عاملين انسبكشن كويس جدا، والديفايسز دي بتقلل يعني بتعمل حته ان بتقلل الانبعاثات وبتقيس، يعني هي بتعمل ميجرمنت لكم الانبعاثات قد ايه، وبيبقى في جايدنس وفي مانيوالز بتقول ازاي نعمل على تقليلها. وفي الاغلب هو المزارع بيبقى عنده زي مانيوال او تول، بيبقى عارف النسب اللي المفروض الانبعاثات تبقى فيها، بيتعمل كذا تيست على الموضوع ده عشان توصل لنسبه الانبعاثات للنسبه المطلوبه. يعني اكشوالي في تولز بتعمل كده. وهقول لحضرتك برضو من اكتر الحاجات اللي بتستخدم مش اثناء الزراعه نفسها، يعني بيستخدموا سيميوليشن تولز كتيره جدا. يعني هو بيعمل فيرتشوال انفايرمنت للعمليه كلها، وبيدخل لها كل الانبوتس بفاريبلز كتيره، وبيعمل عمليه التست دي فيرتشوالي على سيميوليشن تولز علشان يقدر منها يطلع من كل واحد نسبه الانبعاثات قد ايه، ويشوف هو ايه الاكشن اللي هياخده عشان التقليل. يعني هو الموضوع تطور جدا في كل المجالات، ان بقى السيميوليشن والفيرتشوال، يعني ان احنا نعمل الفيرتشوال تيست بيفور going into الامبلمنتيشن بروسيس بقى very successful، عشان نقلل طبعا حته نسبه الريسك ونزود الاشورنس او السكيورتي بتاعت الريزلت.
انا بعتذر
نعم،
دكتوره.
شكرا دكتورة غادة على الإجابة عن السؤال. كان في سؤال موجه للأستاذ بدوي لكن أجابت عنه الدكتورة
ممتاز.
غادة، مشكورة.
الدكتورة
كمان
بتسد.
نعم، سؤال عفوا أستاذ بدوي، في سؤال آخر من ياسر موجه سؤال لحضرتك: كيف يمكن لتطبيق الدورة الزراعية التراكمية أن تؤثر على استدامة التربة؟ أستاذ بدوي السؤال.
أعيد والله ما سمعت.
السؤال من ياسر: كيف يمكن لتطبيق الدورة الزراعية التراكمية أن تؤثر على استدامة التربة؟
هو النقطة اللي بيسأل فيها يمكن الدكتورة تجاوب عليها أفضل مني، لأنه أنا ما تخصص التربة، أنا تخصصي بالبداية كان اللي هو كيف نقنع المزارعين إنه هو مجرد ما توقف عنده الشغل بدينا نموله في اللي هو الأنظمة الطاقة الشمسية، إن يعمل على تشغيلها ويضل عنده المنظومة أو منظومة العمل زائد الأيدي العامل، لأنها هي شغالة بشكل مستدام. هذه النقطة، أما نقطة التربة والشغلات هذه أنا ما عندي دراية فيها.
نعم دكتورة
وحضرتك
غادة.
بتسأل على الاستدامة؟
نعم،
يعني ازاي
السؤال
تفضل.
سؤال دكتورة غادة هو: كيف يمكن لتطبيق الدورة الزراعية التراكمية أن تؤثر على استدامة التربة؟
هو حضرتك هو حته الاستدامه، عشان تميك شور ان في استدامه لازم يبقى في قياس على طول. يعني هو من اول مره بيطلع النتائج، وبيبقى في مؤشرات بتقول ايه النتائج اللي طلعت، وبيبقى بناء على هذه المؤشرات في بنسميها potential actions. يعني بيديك بالظبط كده زي السوات اناليسيس. احنا دايما بيعمل عمليه سوات اناليسيس علشان يشوف ايه اللي طلع فعلا، والمؤشرات ادت انديكيتورز بايه، وبعدين يشوف ايه الحاجات او الاجراءات اللي المفروض تتاخد عشان نحافظ على المستوى ده في الفيوتشر. مثلا من المؤشرات اللي واجهناها على ارض الواقع ان كان في استهلاك، رغم ان ده كان محسوب، استهلاك للميه بيطلع بكميات اكتر من اللي احتاجناها، وبالتالي انا كده باثر على حته الاستدامه في كميات استهلاك المياه اللي محتاجاها في الزراعه. فايه اللي بيتعمل تقييم، وبيتشاف ايه هي بقى التولز او الطرق اللي اوفر بيها استهلاك المياه في المره القادمه. ممكن مثلا منها ان انا ما استخدمش مياه نقيه كلها من اول مره، انا بحتاج اعمل ايه؟ بعمل تحليه مثلا لميه بحار، او ميه مثلا يعني ميه محتاجه تعمل لها عمليه تحليه بطريقه معينه عشان ادخلها في الزراعه. فهو الاستدامه هنقدر نحافظ عليها بان احنا دايما نقاد او نشوف ايه الترندز او التكنولوجيكال ترندز او الابلكيشنز اللي هتخلي الاوتكم يفضل يطلع افضل باقل التكاليف الممكنه، وطبعا without او من غير ما نضر بالكواليتي بتاعت الاوتكم اللي طالع او البرودكت. اتمنى ان انا اكون جاوبت على سؤال اللي بيسال. لو في اي حاجه يعني اكسترا، على فكره انا مش بقول لحضرتك كلام نظري، انا بقول لك حاجه فعلا حصلت على ارض الواقع. يعني نتيجه مثلا قارنا بين اللي ما كانش بيستخدم الرينيوبل انرجي في الزراعه، واللي كانوا بيعتمدوا على ميه من مصارف كده باي كميات للزراعه، وبين لما تحط سنسورز تطلع كميه الميه بالظبط اللي محتاجاها نوع الزرع، وبين انه بقى بيعتمد على سولار بانلز او اذر رينيوبل سورسز زي مثلا الويند او كده على حسب المناطق، وانه يستخدم دول في جنريت الكتريسيتي تبقى كنترولبل لاتمام العمليه.
شكرا دكتورة غادة على الإجابة الوافية. السيد الأستاذ خلف يعني شفت رافع يده للأسئلة. تفضل إذا متاح لك المايك ممكن تسأل أستاذ خلف. نعم الأستاذ تامر بركات. نعم
ممكن يطرحوا الأسئلة كتابة لأنه
ممكن
ما في
نعم أعتقد غير متاح
نعم.
في استخدام المايك. ممكن تطرحوا الأسئلة كتابة. أستاذ تامر يعني أجبنا على السؤال، سؤال حضرتك. هل في سؤال آخر ممكن كمان تطرحه بالشات؟ تفضل ممكن إذا ممكن توجه السؤال بشكل مكتوب. لو في سؤال آخر أيضا أستاذ ملك، هل يوجد أسئلة أخرى لديك؟
لا انتهت الأسئلة.
تمام، أعتقد يعني كل الأسئلة تم الإجابة عنها. يعني لم يتبقى لدينا سوى أن نشكر حضوركم جميع الأساتذة المحاضرين والسيدات المحاضرات والسادة الحضور جميعا. شكرا جزيلا على إغنائكم هذه الجلسة بالحوار والأسئلة. نشكر يعني باسم مركز البيئة للمدن العربية بلدية دبي ومنظمة المدن العربية مجلس الطاقات مجلس صناعة الطاقة النظيفة وشركة سولارابيك. شكرا جزيلا على حضوركم، ونلتقي في جلسات قادمة. أعتقد يعني ستكون متاحة المحاضرات مسجلة، المادة العلمية يعني أعتقد ستكون متاحة على موقع سولارابيك.
شكرا لك.
أستاذ ملك ممكن تفيدنا بالموضوع أكثر
نعم.
بخصوص تسجيل المحاضرات؟
نعم شكرا لك. بس برضو بنحب نشكر الحضور باللغتين بحيث أنه كان عندنا
نعم تفضل.
نعم. So, dear participants and esteemed guests and speaker, as we bring these 3 days conference to a close, we want to express our heartfelt gratitude to each of you and every one of you. These past 3 days have been a journey of knowledge sharing and insightful discussions and collective commitment from everyone to shape the future of a smart and sustainable cities. We extend our appreciation to all our partners, speakers who shared their expertise, time, and knowledge. We would like to thank Dubai Municipality, Clean Energy Business Council, Environmental Center for Arab Towns, منظمة المدن العربية. Together, we have explored the transformative potential of and advanced technologies in the city management, and we have reframed our dedication to a sustainable and innovative urban future. The challenges, the opportunities ahead are substantial, but together with collaborative spirit and innovative ideas, we have witnessed during this conference many things that made us confident that we can overcome them. The journey does not end here. It is continuous of our shared mission to create cities that efficient, resilient, and environmentally conscious. شكرا لكم جميعا. I also would like to mention that all the presentations and the recordings will be uploaded on our website. Switching to Arabic again. أعزائنا المشاركين والحضور والضيوف الكرام، مع انتهاء هذا المؤتمر اللي استمر ل3 أيام، بحب أعبر باسمي واسم سولارابيك والمنظمين عن امتناننا العميق لكل واحد منكم. شكرا لك أستاذ زاهر أيضا.
شكرا جزيلا لحضور.
يا أهلا وسهلا. أيام 3 برحلة مشاركة معرفة ومناقشات مثرية وتفرغ مشاركين ومتحدثين لتشكيل مستقبل وتعريفنا بمستقبل المدن الذكية والمستدامة. بنحب نشكر ونوجه شكرنا الخالص لجميع المتحدثين اللي شاركوا خبراتهم، للحضور ولشركائنا بلدية دبي ومجلس صناعات الطاقة النظيفة، مركز البيئة للمدن العربية ومنظمة المدن العربية، ولكل حضورنا الأعزاء والكرام. شكرا لأنكم ساهمتوا في إمكانية إقامة هذا الإيفنت. مع بعض قدرنا نستكشف إمكانيات التحول للتقنيات المتقدمة في إدارة المدن، وأكدنا مع بعض التفاني المشترك لأنه نتحول لمدن ذكية ومستدامة ومبتكرة. بنهاية هذا المؤتمر إن شاء الله بنطلب منكم تظلوا متصلين دائما، نحافظ على هذه النقاشات. بتقدروا تحضروا ريكوردينجز الإيفنت اللي حدثت خلال ال3 أيام السابقة على الويب سايت تبع سولارابيك، واللي راح يوصلكم إيميل برضو من الزوم بيوديكم دايركتلي على ريكوردينجز وعلى تسجيلات الندوات وعلى المواد والعروض التقديمية. بتقدروا كمان تتفرجوا على أي مؤتمرات قادمة بإذن الله بالتعاون ما بيننا وما بين شركائنا، تلقوها على نفس الموقع. وختاما نتمنى إن شاء الله أنه نحقق تأثير ونمهد الطريق نحو مستقبل حضري وأكثر إشراقا وخضارا. شكرا للجميع على مشاركتكم. نتطلع إلى لقائكم مرة أخرى قريبا. إلى اللقاء حتى نلتقي مرة أخرى، واستمتعوا بيومكم ومع السلامة.
شكرا جزيلا للجميع الحضور. شكرا لكم.
شكرا جزيلا أستاذ ملاك، دكتورة غادة، أستاذ زاهر، شكرا لكم جميعا. يعني
يعطيكم العافية. إلى لقاء آخر قريب.
تشرفنا بحضوركم. شكرا جزيلا.